Okay, welcome back. Welcome back to the Awakening Philosophy Podcast. My name is Jed. I hope you're having a wonderful time, and I hope you're super curious about the ox herding pictures of Zen Buddhism. We have been assigned a task by Socrates to follow a similar pattern, or to take what we've been learning about this book that is a goddamn banger and make a sequel to this book. Now, we could understand so far this book, the conversation between Socrates and Jesus is one outlining or moving from belief to understanding. Now, when we say understanding, we are talking about understanding with a capital U, because we are understanding itself. We are using our mind to know the mind. Or we're using the understanding to know the mind as a reflection of self. That's a nice one because it hits the three big ones. It hits understanding, hits mind, and the self. Those are the three ones. You could say that they are the first three hypotheses of Parmenides. They're the ones with actual, logos, and ousia. Let me just refresh my OBS. Okay. Should be saying, here we go. And by the way, the after understanding, if we are to do a map of the cognitive functions or levels of reality from self to mind to understanding, the next one in line is the fourth hypothesis, belief. So what we have been learning through the text is belief is the fundamental cause of human problems. All human activities can be traced to a state of mind, because everyone who's ever done anything has done so from a state of mind. Now, one way of categorizing the different states of mind is, well, we've looked at the kinds of organizations of the soul. Are you driven by material wealth, physical pleasure? Are you driven by fame or honor? Or are you following the logos? Are you driven by reason? But another way of understanding different states of mind is, what cognitive function are you thinking through? How are you making sense of the world? Are you making sense of it? Well, the two fundamental ways that we look at making sense of the world is belief and understanding. Why is that? Well, because understanding the way we mean it, dianoia, understanding mind itself, is the method or path for awakening the next cognitive function, knowing. And what we've been learning from the conversation with Jesus is, once we have had a glimpse of that state of knowing, the non-physical experience or out-of-body experience, you could call it, of mind, which Jesus himself had a glimpse of in his transfiguration experience, we have to make sense of it through understanding. So understanding is applied yet again. In fact, the conversation or the story of Jesus that we've been reading about is a cautionary tale of what happens if you don't make sense of your highest experiences with understanding. Because Jesus reverted to belief. He used that experience to validate his beliefs, or he used his beliefs to make sense of that experience, which led to his tragic end. Now, formally, it isn't a tragic end, as we learnt from the book, because in a tragic story, the tragic hero realizes it was his own state of mind and something about his own state of mind that he neglected to address with understanding that he should have. That caused his tragic end. Now, that isn't in the Jesus story, so technically it's a pathetic hero story. He blames God. God, why have you forsaken me? And as we read, there is no magicking his way to heaven. The resurrection story was added a couple of hundred years later by the church. Wasn't part of the original story. So, understanding is our method to insight of the highest kind. We have to apply understanding to it to develop deeper levels of insight or experience and integrate it fully. And of course, understanding has to be applied to go to that experience itself, because the next stage beyond, or the next kind of stage beyond mind, is beyond experience. So you can't imagine a greater experience than mind itself, or the highest experience of mind itself, literally. So it can't be through experience alone that you pass through that to the ultimate stage, from mind to self. You need understanding to reflect on that experience and realize while it's experienced as a profound oneness, there are qualities that you can intellectually distinguish. Those we call the ideas. These are the things that are translated very, very poorly. I think Benjamin Jowett was the translator who translated the word eidos as forms, which is terrible because that's not the word. It's a physical word, which ironically was, well, we won't get into that. Socrates had a problem trying to make sense of the metaphysical using a language from the physical. So let's ignore that for now. Right, the ideas, of course, the aspects that you can understand, which means if there are these different parts coming together into a unity or oneness, we have to, through understanding, look at what must be the cause or preconditions for that to exist as a oneness. The one. Every effect has a cause. So again, understanding is our method to it, understanding is how we move through it, and understanding has to be used to go beyond it to the self. That's why we say understanding and belief are the two fundamental cognitive functions. One is the cause of our suffering and problems, because it functions in opposition to understanding, belief. If you understand it, why would you believe someone else? And if you're understanding, you are going through development. There is no development in belief. You're a Mormon from birth and that's it. You can't change. You're a MAGA, and doesn't matter what Trump does, doesn't matter how evil he is. Of course, it's not evil. How harmful and ignorant he is, doesn't matter. Stupidity, it's ignorance. So, as we call understanding and knowing wisdom, belief and our functioning in opposition to understanding mind and self, ignorance. Or, as we say, following the logos is our upward or anagogic method. It's our path upward to higher levels of functioning, better states of mind. The pathologos is the name for the fundamental false belief about mind and self that blocks the development of understanding and is the root cause of human problems. So, pretty fucking amazing book to be able to give us all that amazing, meaningful, significant insight. Now, for as wonderful as that book is, we can see the catch-22. If we are learning about the logos and its structure, the dialectic, the art we're literally here to learn as the meaning of life, from this book, but the nature of all human problems comes down to fundamentally a block to the logos, the pathologos, you can see the catch-22 we are in as human beings. So because this is an amazing book, perhaps one of the greatest books ever written, it's going to be the book we will least want to read. And equally so, the insights we gain are going to be very difficult to accept ourselves and communicate to those we care about, because that's their block, literally. So a bit of a catch-22, but we have seen that's okay because we can develop the virtues. Following the logos in spite of our pathologos, the virtues, courage, keeping our cool, temperance. Being ruled by the logos, wisdom, at all times, justice. The 4 kinds of virtues that can awaken the 5th, or that for the sake of which we develop the others, self, or what Socrates calls the state of self-phronesis. So in other words, do it anyway. And in doing it anyway, you're practicing the virtues, practicing the ideal qualities of self, while learning what we're here to learn. Now, that's neat to understand from Socrates, but what we have been seeing is that very same thing can be understood within the ox herding pictures. We've looked at 3, 4, and 5, and how that's similar, holding to the method, following the ox's tracks, trying to tame the ox, keeping it on track. 4 and 5 especially. We can see that there as well. Isn't that neat? So, well, the book that we've been reading is the first big journey that human beings have to make, recognizing the nature of belief as the cause of human problems, because like we said, every bad thing anyone's done has been an action that a human has done from a state of mind. So its cause, or a more causal, more fundamental cause to any action is a state of mind. And as there are 2 primary cognitive functions from a state of mind, belief or understanding. Now there is knowledge and the state of self, but as we've said, they require understanding. They're perfected through understanding, and understanding is applied to it to transcend. So they all incorporate understanding as well, the logos. Then we can say, well, hang on a second, if all actions come from a state of mind, and all state of minds can be put into fundamentally 2 categories, belief and understanding, then we can, recognize the nature of human problems, ignorance, belief, and the fundamental cause of we need to solve problems and reach our excellence, understanding. So those are the 2, belief and understanding. It's just that simple. But again, because it's simple, it's going to be the hardest thing to communicate and accept ourselves. But that's why the book has been all the way along teaching us, yes, there will be different kinds of reaction to simple, obvious truth. Now, Socrates has said a couple of things. First of all, if you say something clearly and simply, what ends up happening is it becomes an esoteric tradition for some reason. So there's that difficulty. There's the other difficulty Socrates has been pointing out. Hey, most people want to be entertained. So, as important as this is for our literal soul's development, your whole life and the species as a whole, people don't give a shit because they'd rather be entertained. But that's okay, we have funny sound drops.
Gooners.
See, we have R.M. Brown saying gooners.
The primary purpose of poop, if you're experiencing a mental health episode, we don't want to have to see that.
And we have Emma saying about mental health episodes.
You have severe mental illness, and you need to be fucking checked into an
insane
asylum.
asylum. See, that's funny.
Kant's a little fucking bitch.
And Kant is a bitch. That's funny too. So, entertainment is a difficulty. Another difficulty that Socrates has pointed out is people won't want to learn because, again, the pathologos comes with a false image of the self, a way of being of the soul, attached to that false identity. So as we are seeing the development of understanding to reach the level of reality called mind, and then beyond that the self, a false image of the self and a false belief about reality, causing a state of mind where we function in opposition to understanding. So a counter or a false version of all three is the pathologos. So another difficulty that we have to overcome. That is, people think they know what they are. Why would you learn about the self if you think you know what it is? And this false belief about what we think as ourselves is the block. Or, as the oracle says,
personality maxing requires you to look inward on a deeper level, and it's harder to fix because then you have to make fundamental changes to who you are as a person, and it's because it feels like a much more core component of themselves that they don't want to change. Like it's like, well, if I change this, who am I?
So fundamentally changing what you think of yourself is difficult because you're identified with it. It's the mask that you've been spending your life identifying with. So you've been doing, in other words, a fake dialectic your whole life. Now, while dialectic is the following of the logos, you've been and of course the things that we use in the dialectic are our evolved capacities of self-reflection, ousia, and language or understanding, logos, ousia and logos. The artful and skillful use of that is the dialectic. Well, we have been reflecting ousia in a really shallow way on our image of ourselves. Every thought that we have, all the plans that we make start with an image of yourself. You need to eat something for lunch, you have to imagine if your idea of yourself is someone who doesn't have enough money for a cheeseburger, your plan about what to eat for lunch can't be you getting a cheeseburger, that kind of thing. Or in other words, let's think of something better than that. You want to apply for the job of the manager in the office, but your idea of yourself is no one listens to you, so the whole time you're thinking about applying for that job, you're reflecting on this image of yourself as someone no one wants to listen to, and it ends up in a self-sabotage because you can't simultaneously have that idea of yourself and have that manager job. You can't have both. They're inconsistent. So you spent that whole week meditating or ousiaing on that false idea of the self. So a shallow ousia, a reflection on what's false, not true ousia, which develops. There's no improvement. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, keeping you stuck in fate. And again, a shallow pool of logos. You talk to yourself the same way that your parents talk to you. You put yourself down with the same language. There's no development. And the most ignorant people literally use catchphrases. So the most ignorant or the most tied to beliefs, we call them right-wing or conservative politically, and we call them religious spiritually. Religion means to be bound by belief. An irrational, absurd belief called faith, because it can't be proven or it's disproven even by evidence and reason. That's belief. That's religion. Equally so, the conservatives mean it's the pathologos party, to conserve our false ignorant beliefs, to act harmfully against those who are different from us, and to manipulate or scam people using their own beliefs, while the billionaires murder people for profit, invade countries for profit, delight in the sadism of hurting their own people, all that sort of horseshit, the right wing or the conservatives. So those people literally speak in catchphrases. That's why their comedy sucks. There's no independent thought. There's no development. So it's catchphrases. Interesting, isn't it? I think it's interesting. So, there is no separate meditation other than philosophical speculation, reflecting on the true nature of self and reality, self and mind, through or incorporating imagination, of course, but understanding. In other words, the dialectic is learning and meditation. And ironically, we're all masters of meditation. We're just applying it to a false image of self and reality. We're expert students to shitty teachers, keeping us with shallow ousia and logos, making us like zombies. Zombies have enough reflection to think, oh, I want to eat brains, and they have enough language to say brains, and that's it. That's why it's the cause of human suffering. We've been repeating, war is terrible and stupid and irrational and unneeded. So is capitalism, fascism, Nazism. But we're still doing it because we're zombies. We are stuck in the cognitive function of belief. Therefore, we have to realize we have the capacity for true learning and meditation, the dialectic, because we're doing it, we're just doing it on the wrong thing. And this is what we got from Socrates in the book so far as well. A description of the origin scene where we get a false idea of self and reality that becomes the mask that we spend our whole life identifying with, which causes our blocks and causes our negative experiences upon death, our limit from participating in intelligence or luminosity, and causing us to reincarnate with a shallow character and intelligence because of that false identification with self, and reincarnate into another existence where we suffer the implications of the injustice we have inflicted on ourselves and others because of that very pathologos, the cause of our suffering and injustice towards others as well. So a kind of balance in the universe where we have to experience the negative effects of our unjust functioning, but there wouldn't be a balance if there wasn't an opportunity to remove that suffering and improve. That's learning. That's what we're learning how to do here. In other words, there's always a way of removing the bad and get it moving into the good. That's the logos. That's the dialectic. But again, requires character and courage to play the game, because we are identified with it. Let's hear the oracle again.
Personality maxing requires you to look inward.
Personality maxing is what we would call it in modern internet language. Everything is maxing, apparently. You want to improve your appearance, your looks maxing. You want to go to the gym, your fitness maxing. It comes from the idea in video games. One way of playing video games that's very common is you min-max your character. You try, like if you want to be a warrior character, you put all of your points into strength and 0 intelligence and 0 charisma. Because who cares? I'm just going to be the best warrior of all time. Min-maxing. And from video game culture, online culture, that's what people say. Personality maxing is what we're doing. So let's hear the oracle again.
Personality maxing requires you to look inward on a deeper level, and it's harder to fix because then you have to make fundamental changes to who you are as a person. And it's because it feels like a much more core component of themselves that they don't want to change. Like, it's like, well, then if I change this, who am I?
Who am I indeed? Right, Aaron?
Absolutely gooped.
Yes, you'll be absolutely gooped if you don't personality max. So we're learning how to do that here. So, as Socrates laid out, we get a false image of the self, but, well, here's a good way of describing it with a metaphor. Why do MAGA vote for Donald Trump if he's literally hurting them and taking away their health care, taking away any social services, making literally stealing their money, sending Gestapo KKK thugs on the street to terrorize their whole community, doing literally everything bad you can do? Why would they vote for him? Because if they sell all of those things, their dignity, their quality of life, their material well-being, what they get in return is a role. an image of themselves as being superior to the immigrants and women and anyone with a different colored skin, and a way of being or role within society where they can pretend to be knowers when they are the most ignorant fuckers out there. Give me your money and I'll let you pretend to be better than someone else. And I'll give you a way of being. I'll give you a bunch of catchphrases where you can talk about what you're interested in. You're racist, so you can talk about your racist ideas using these catchphrases, liberal tears, that kind of shit. Same thing with religion. You don't have to learn, you don't have to develop, you can stay comfortable in your ignorance, and we'll all pretend you're wiser than the other person because you're an Anglican, or because you're a Mormon, or because you're a Jew, or because you're a Catholic. It's bullshit, we all know it's bullshit. You know Frank, you know he's an idiot, but you have to politely smile and nod when he pretends he's wiser than the academic who's not religious. So that's how obvious it is when you look at religion or conservative politics, but we all have that. Every single one of us. That's why it works so well. No, so terribly. We all have an image of ourselves that comes with a state of mind or way of being that gives us a role, a way of thinking about yourself, and a way of expressing yourself within the family clan. That's it. That's the Pathologos. We sacrifice everything good. We sacrifice our own goals. We sacrifice ourselves, our mind, our understanding in this life and beyond, causing our negative reincarnations and suffering as well, for a nice role within the family. That's it. That's all they sell. They don't give you a car. Nope. The cars and the money. Oh, welcome. Chaotic chemistry. The cars and the Bugattis and the money and all of the material wealth go to the leaders who are manipulating you. But that's what they sell. You can see how attractive it is to people who think life is about material gain or learning how to manipulate other people through belief in order to amass physical wealth. It's so appealing because no overheads. No overheads. Don't have to buy anything. You go, yeah, we'll pretend that you're smart and crazy and smart and, knowing when you're not. And all you have to do is give up everything. So we've understood that's how we can understand belief as a cognitive function. All of the lesser pairs of understanding or logos in opposition to the greater. So what we just talked about there is you have to accept these limits. That's over here. Limit. You sacrifice your freedom. You're always at war with your own freedom or unlimitedness. That's what belief means. You are always different from everyone else, including yourself. And you're at war with people on the left or people who like understanding, who want everyone to be treated the same. Universal income, universal healthcare, universal everything. You're a part at war with the whole. Invade everyone, kill everyone. You're always in time because the state of mind and self that you're blocked from exists out of time. So we can take all of these lesser and understand belief as identified with those in conflict, at war with the greater. Equally so, to understand understanding, your state of being is of the whole. You know the whole of, I don't know, if you're a mechanic, the whole of the engine, and you're able to work providentially or beneficially to the parts. You can fix the gas plug and the spark generator and the other parts of the engine. You can see the same or the all engines as the ideal or the archetype, and you can respond to every different car that comes in if you understand car engines. Now, what we are discovering is actually, for understanding, there are two kinds of wholes. There's mind, which is the whole of all parts, the divine luminosity. That's the first kind of enlightenment, to experience your own self or your own mind or consciousness, or self to experience mind as its reflection, everything all at once. But there's a different kind of whole, which is the cause of all of the parts. So if we have whole and parts, and we have belief down here, parts in opposition to the whole, the cause of human problems, belief. We have whole of all parts as this Venn diagram overlap. Well, hang on a second, we've got this part, the part of whole which is beyond parts, transcending parts. That's the self. Because we can also say, hey, this top circle is self, and this bottom circle is experience or existence. So the self experiencing itself is that mind or luminosity, experiencing it or existence. That's why we've been talking about understanding as the fundamental cognitive function, because you are experiencing self completely existing. So it's the greatest experience. Therefore, to go beyond mind to the self, you have to use understanding to posit through understanding something beyond experience or beyond existence. In other words, it can't just be experience. There needs to be logos. Otherwise, you'll stop at the greatest experience. So, two kinds of understanding that we're after. The understanding of the whole, which is mind or the whole of all parts, using the logos or the dialectic or the skill of understanding we've been mastering to help to providentially, like the mechanic, the parts, or to be yourself free and unlimited as a state of mind, but through the dialectic help people remove their false beliefs, their limits. That's the functioning of the dialectician. To help people remove or purify what's their ignorance and perfect their own motion to reach their goal. So philosophy, the dialectic upward, and midwifery, the dialectic to remove the block. Those are the two. But keep in mind, there's always the other part. Hey, as someone goes through it, after you've gone through it or as you're going through it, take a pause and reflect on the whole. What's the dialectic like? Isn't it pretty neat? You can solve your problems and the dialectic is the method. Isn't it pretty neat? You can, through your understanding, prepare your mind for enlightenment. Isn't that pretty neat? Are both beneficial? And we saw that kind of reflection is needed to see the value of the dialectic so that you can recognize the greatest dialectician ever, the one who has not the whole of all parts or is using the paradigm of mind as we have been using, but the one who has the whole beyond parts or the self, knows the self, knows and understands the self, and can function through the art of understanding to help us reach the self. what we have identified as our dream maker, giving us the 3 levels that we have: seeking the logos, developing, or what we've been reading, chasing the ox, hunting for the ox, is what we do as a soul, seeking and following the logos. Now, maybe the footprints of the ox are the logos. We're not quite sure yet, because the ox herding pictures use a man trying to catch an ox as a metaphor for this process that we are nailing down, because this book, that's a fucking banger, gives us the questions and the material to solve the questions. We're nailing it down through understanding. So, a soul seeking to perfect itself through the logos, you can read. So there's our activity. We are the way that we function in the world because of our reading. We can reflect on what we've been seeing, reflect on the logos, leading to a recognition that there's a model or structure to the logos. That's the dialectic. So those are our 1, 2, 3, 4 causes. The material cause, the receptive material cause, doing an activity. So to use the metaphor of building a house, there needs to be bricks you can work with. There has to be the activity of building. There has to be the functioning of the builder, doing the building on the bricks. There have to be blueprints. So the model of the logos in the text is the dialectic, and that, for the sake of which, or the final cause, is to recognize that our greater functioning, we don't leave reading, we're always reading, but there is a greater activity of participating in that dialectic. So as we are a soul seeking and following the logos, now we are a mind seeking and following the dialectic, receptive to being ruled by the dialectic. What we're just describing is those 2 functions of midwifery and philosophy of the dialectic, as well as reflecting on it as a whole, practicing as a dialectician, benefiting yourself and those who are also in the game, and realizing that, just as there was a whole of all parts, that was the model for the text we've been reading, there is a whole beyond parts, that's the paradigm or no, we say a different way. Just as the dialectic was the paradigm for the book, the dialectic comes from the knowable paradigm of mind, the whole of all parts, the intelligible. But if there is a whole of all parts that can allow our functioning as a dialectician, and our greatest kind of art, or the greatest kind of functioning you can do, we've been talking about paying the consequence of living an unjust life through your pathologos. But hey, well, how do we turn it around? How do we get nice rewards in our post-life and reincarnate upwards and not downwards? In other words, what's the good thing we can do? Well, we've been talking about how our human ignorance belief is a kind of dialectic on what's bad, what's false. So we're expert meditators, we're expert students to terrible teachers. Therefore, the good thing will be the good dialectic. So this is our ideal functioning, to practice as a dialectician to help people through their development. Therefore, as we practice that, we can recognize, hang on a second, what's the cause even of that? We are now a self receptive to, ruled by, or seeking and following the greatest dialectician, the Dream Master. And the paradigm of that is what we've been talking about, knowing the self, the whole that transcends parts. That for the sake of which, from the text, to transcend the state of man, to join with a higher class of being, which might be similar to the Dream Maker. Maybe, question mark. while still being able to function as a dialectician. Only now your art of dialectic can be applied to dream analysis. The greatest activity. So all of that's what we've been reading about so far. What's necessary to move from belief to understanding, and then through understanding to awaken states of mind. And ideally, if we have an understanding of the map of that enlightenment, those enlightenment states, we can move through it. And then on the other side, the self. Are there stages of development of self? Because those are the two fundamental kinds of wholes. Both non-physical, because we, through our physical senses, we are on the lesser side. We are in time. We experience parts. Our mind infers wholes, but we never see them. Just like all of these ideas, we only see as adjectives. We infer them with our mind. We infer goodness, whole and part, same and difference. You never walk down the street and say, "Hello, Mr. Whole." "Hello, I'm whole." No, we see things with whole as an adjective. So understanding the aspects of mind is experiencing them as substantives or nouns, where you actually meet Mr. Whole as one of those eidos or aspects of mind. The studying of those eidos, philosophy, metaphysics, personifying them with characters or stories, mythology, and theology. It's just that simple. So, the conversation with Jesus has been about understanding those fundamental causes of our problems, belief, and its cause, the pathologos origin scene, and understanding what would be needed to remove those problems, midwifery, dialectic applied to what's false, and dream analysis too. And what's need to, once free of those problems, actually discover the truth about self and reality, the dialectic. So all of those have been the movement from belief into understanding. Now, Socrates says, hang on a second. Whoops, let's bring up the text. I know I'm repeating myself, but I like to nail it down in my own mind. And sometimes we get new people, like our new chatter. Hope you're enjoying it. Socrates says, hey, you know what? You know what, you know what, you know what? He says,
If you don't know, now you know.
if you don't know, now you know. And then he says,
I'm always good. And that is what I stand for, being good all the time.
all the time. That's what I stand for too. You know what? Once we have recognized the nature of human problems belief, and we are going through the process of surfacing those false beliefs, those false identities that make it hard to personality max. Once we're going through that, well, now we are open to actual experiences of the whole of mind, or the whole beyond parts, the self, which are the two kinds of enlightenment experiences. Even though one is an encounter rather than experience, let's say, because it's beyond experience, but it's a bit of a technicality there. So Socrates says, you know what? I would like someone to describe the journey of the soul through the stages, heaven, mind, to the other side as well, so self as well. All the stages of enlightenment from a glimpse to the final stages, I would like them all fully worked out, please. Jesus says, you know what? Look at the Zen ox-herding pictures from the Zen masters. And now the author gives us a guide for how we do understand them. What are we looking for in those ox-herding pictures to create this map of enlightenment through understanding? Look for in each of the pictures and statements, there's a poem as well, states of mind. That's our development. We're experiencing them as states of mind. What is encountered? What do you see when you are in that state of mind? How it functions, how that state of mind and what you see it functions. What can you do with it? And also the consequence or the suggestion of the next stage. How would that maybe lead into or anticipate the next stage? And we said, oh, hang on a second, there's 4. That means it could be the structure of the dialectic. We could look for the dialectic in those oxiding pictures. Is the state of the mind of the seeker, is that the state in relation to itself? Is that the definition? Or is what is encountered the definition? That's the thing itself. And the state of the mind is how it's experienced or functioning. So definition, demonstration. How it functions, that sounds like division, or it could be the state functioning, that sounds like demonstration. Or how it functions could be the result of the thing itself experienced as a state of mind, and as a result, what does that state of mind allow you to do? And finally, the suggestion of the sequel, well, it's probably going to be conclusion. That one's a bit of a given. As a result, how do you relate back to the self? As a result of what you've seen, or your state of mind, let's say, what you've seen with that state of mind, how you've functioned, how can you then relate back to the self in a higher way? As a result of going from a glimpse through this development of understanding of that glimpse. Remember, that's the message of Jesus, or that Socrates is pointing, and Mark, Gospel of Mark points to in Jesus. It's not just enough to have the experience. Experiences are dumb. They're dead. Understanding is what we benefit from with. Understanding is what how we are affected by it. That's, as we've been saying, understanding or logos is the method. So whatever glimpse, identify the oxiding picture, apply these 4, go through it, do a dialectic on it. It's always the method. Isn't that neat? I think it's neat. What do you think, Emma?
I'm cute. Like, it's cutie pie.
That might be true, but it's irrelevant to the question.
Hey man, wouldn't some kind of future where people have all their whatever basic needs met of shelter, all this crap, and they could do whatever the hell they want, wouldn't that be good? No, it wouldn't.
It wouldn't? Come on.
You moron. You absolute fucking buffoon. You goddamn idiot.
You goddamn idiot.
Cunt's a little fucking bitch.
And remember, cunt's a little bitch. So, some questions about which of these is which within the dialectic. But we've got a map to work with. Oh shit, sorry. I was pointing to, I was reading from the text, but I hadn't changed it on the board. Let me quickly do that. Here we go. So this is what I was reading a second ago. Socrates saying, hey, I would like the journey of the soul through all of the stages of enlightenment through to the other side of heaven even. So beyond, all the way through the text, Jesus has been curious about mind, but whenever Socrates brings up the idea of self, it goes past him. He hasn't picked up on that yet. So the other side. So when Jesus talks about heaven, he's only talking about mind. Divine luminosity. So the other side would be the self. We get it. We know. Right?
I'm always good. No, you're not the one that's mentally unwell. You're brave. You are crossing into new boundaries.
New boundaries. And lend this boundary to the self. Right?
This is why I love this channel, man.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm cute. Like, it's cutie
Okay.
pie.
Oh no, you tell us every day. So right, from a glimpse. So all of the stages of enlightenment, from a glimpse to the final stages fully worked out. Okay, so there's a couple of things here. What we've been reading through the text is an understanding of the dialectic. And we've seen the text itself follows the structure of the dialectic as a whole. But what we've seen time and time again, because this book is such a goddamn banger, that even in individual sections of the book, we see the structure of the dialectic. It's logos all the way through. It's dialectic all the way down, baby. So this idea of a glimpse to the final stages worked out would be the stages of enlightenment going up, but also within each stage. We could say a glimpse. Oh, and by the way, that's what we just read is in this book here. So then Jesus says, "Oh, okay, you want to get the map of enlightenment? You can't get it from me because I'm in this book, but you could write a sequel called The Dialogue Between Socrates and the Buddha, where you would explore the ox herding pictures from Buddhist Zen masters, and you would look for the state of mind of the seeker, what is encountered, how it functions, and how each one ends with a suggestion of its sequel. The next level of whole. So, this idea of from a glimpse to it fully worked out, all of the stages, could be also within the stages. You'd have a glimpse. What you encounter. And then you have to think about, hey, I just saw this thing. What was your state of mind? How did you experience it? So definition, what was seen. Got to nail that down. You don't want to say, well, I experienced Joseph Smith. Now I'm the best Mormon. I'm going to kill for Mormonism because I had this light experience, and the only way I had to define what was encountered was my Mormon religious upbringing. So I saw the face of Allah. Now I'm a fervent Muslim. I saw Mother Mary. So now I'm the hardcore Catholic. I will never be persuaded otherwise. That kind of crap. The Jesus story. He had an luminosity experience. He thought, well, I must be the next coming of Elijah. And played out that fate. So you better nail down or definition what you've experienced. And what do you do? By the way, this also applies to dream analysis. One of the goals we have in the book is try and find a way of taking everything we've been learning as clues about the dialectic and find a way of using the dialectic as a method to participate in the greatest human activity, dream analysis. There has been no one since Socrates who's been able to do that, except of course for this author, but he didn't write the book. He's leaving that up for us. That's his gift. Plato, as we've been reading, Plato, Proclus, Damascus, lost midwifery and dream analysis. Even Dionysius mentions the significance of dreams, I think, but doesn't show specifically how to apply the dialectic to it. So, in a dream, you experience something, but what do? Look at the state of mind. What state of mind were you in? Because that thing you experienced, well, you can define it because it's an analogy. You ran into a dragon, but the dragon is an analogical representation like theology or mythology that we've been learning is an application of the dialectic. Remember, there's a dialectic on the dialectic that we've done. The 4 aspects of the dialectic: definition or truth, philosophy, understanding the self and reality, removing what's false, midwifery, both dream analysis, making it the greatest activity, and sharing it. Tell stories about it. use funny characters that are entertaining. I've seen streamers who doing a very wonderful job with sharing understanding, and have pointed out that it can be a bit dry just to be literal. And as we've seen in the text, one of the difficulties in sharing the dialectic is people would rather be entertained. But here's something that I've seen some people do. Use characters that are interesting in an entertaining way, weirdos, like Aaron Brown uses those sometimes. Well, he does it all the time. He uses these entertaining crackpots to personify, or as a metaphor, mythologize the actual principles of understanding, to share it in an entertaining way. That's why he lives on my soundboard.
Gooners.
Because he appeals to the gooners.
Chimps. A chimp kissed a fox once, I think. I do enjoy that.
See, a chimp kissing a fox is likely an analogy for something profound. Right, so this principle of mythology, or also theology, using metaphor and stories to talk about the principles of metaphysics, that's theology, that we get from Damascus. Notice, in order to move from the analogy to the principle of reality, or the force of mind, or the stages of the soul's development, that's all same thing, same category of metaphysics. You have to apply understanding. You have to use the logos or apply the dialectic, which is why Dionysius the Areopagite was so important. He saw that the philosophers were being murdered or exiled, the books were being burnt, the academy is being shut down, so he pretended to be a Christian. He was a lion in wolf's clothing, because Christians are like, quote, Paul, who was a wolf in sheep's clothing, claiming to speak for Jesus, but undermining everything he said about understanding and states of mind, and saying, oh no, it's just belief. You know that thing that's fucking terrible? Faith, belief? Yeah, oh, that's what Jesus actually meant, says me. And he also says, well, God says that I'm the one you should believe. Same old grift, the same old ignorant bullshit. So, thanks to Dionysius sneaking in a way of interpreting their bullshit hierarchical structures, king, pope, priest, archbishop, all that stuff, to personify or as a metaphor for the logos, he was able to sneak in some understanding for the people. So what? So here we are looking for, in the ox herding pictures, but also our dreams. We're using dreams as a guide. Where is it? Here we go. What happens when you have a dream? You experience something, but it's not literal. Therefore, you have to apply the dialectic to what is encountered, the thing itself, to get its true definition. It ain't a dragon, it represents, well, that's why you can't have dream books, like a dream book from Oprah's book club. That's why Jung didn't do very well with dream analysis. He thought that all of the archetypes were standard. That's why he didn't have much success. The only success he did have apparently was when people happened to be in the same culture as him, and for him, dragon represents this archetype. For you, buddy. Now, for other Brits who grew up on Lord of the Rings like him, it happened to work out, but that was a fluke. So we have to get the true definition of what is encountered in your dream through analogy. And then the next thing you ask, oh, okay, so that's the furniture of the dream, the objects, but what was your state of mind? So you could say, as you experienced that, what was your state of mind? How does it function, or demonstration? What was your state of mind? Now we're looking for this in the ox herding pictures as well. Next. So if that's the thing itself, And by the way, we have to do the work to go from the thing to its true definition. Now, having been affected by that, we have a certain state of mind, self to other, self to your mind. As a result of that, actually, we should put this on the board. It's working out pretty nicely, actually. So we're using dreams as a bit of a guide for how to unpack the oxidizing pictures. So, you experienced a dragon. There's our dragon. Oh, it looks very amazing. Greatest dragon I've ever drawn. We have to go from that to its definition. Definition, self to itself, through analogy. Put analogy. Also mythology or theology too, if you fancy. Then, having been affected by that, how does that then affect you to get the demonstration of functioning in your state of mind? Zoom in a bit. So that's the state of mind would be here. Next, actually give it a bit of color distinguishes it. Make it green. Next, how does that state of mind, therefore, so this, notice one goes to the other. So it rolls on. So this goes to the next one, and that would go to the next one too. How does it then function in the dream or the drama? So we talked about understanding the root cause of all human problems, because every drama or functioning, that's division. All of the divisions, whether it's Trump murdering Venezuelan people for oil profit in his recent invasion of Venezuela, or whether it be Putin murdering people for land, whether it be Hitler murdering Jewish people or Jewish people murdering Palestinian people, it's all different functioning that all come from a state of mind. So it's the resulting functioning, others to others. So it's this defined thing that becomes that, the S in the next level, and it's this state of mind that functions in the drama or the division. So too in dreams, the oxidizing pictures, or how it functions, is one of the things the author told us to look for, Socrates told us to look for. So that division or that other becomes the other for, so as a result of that division or drama or functioning or having gone through that. That includes us having a definition, having a state, reflecting on our state of mind, going through an activity of understanding it, reflecting on the oxiding pictures. We will have a consequence. We might be able to move beyond that glimpse to the full experience, or beyond that to the next stage. So it always applies, even in our own use of the oxiding pictures to identify our own stage of development. So this becomes the other here, relating back to the self, other back to self. This is the suggestion of the sequel. So this would be the conclusion. How then do you relate back to yourself in a higher way? Or relate back to that state of mind in a higher way? That was an interesting state of mind. I thought it was it. But actually I see it was a reflection of a higher stage. That kind of thing. So that would be the conclusion, which could either be a success or an upward. The upward or anagogic, upward, fancy word that means upward moving, anagogic conclusion, or, well, in dreams you could also have a block. Or a failure, or block. In dreams. So, hey, what does that piece of furniture you encountered in a dream represent to you? When you think of a dragon, what does it mean to you? Oh, is that interesting? On each stage, by the way, anything like that happening in your everyday life recently? Yeah, just curious. Now, by the way, in the dream, what was it like as a state of mind? Notice we're using the self-logos terms. Same and different. What's it the same? Metaphor. A dragon is this. Sameness. What's it like? Likeness. Remember? What's that? I'll get rid of that. Remember the building blocks of understanding, the logos? See? You could ask a question about the dream as a whole at the beginning, but that's not going to be correct because it's a problem. You've got to, it's talking to you about something you are blind to. So we address the parts. What are the parts? What's that the same as? A dragon is, that's a metaphor. What's it like? State of mind. Simile. The drama. Are you always in motion? What was the rest? Was it a success or a failure? Did you get to the end? So see, we're using the dialectic to make use of the logos, the fundamental building blocks of understanding, experience, perception, existence. See, these are the Lego pieces we can play with. So, that's part of our job, of course, to figure out a way of applying the dialectic to dreams. That hasn't been done yet, well, since we murdered Socrates. So that's how we contribute. That's part of the puzzle of the book. But also, we can use that. So long as we are applying ourselves to the instruction of Socrates and the author, we gain a bit of an insight into our questions. Our question, well, hang on, which of these is the definition and which is the demonstration? So maybe, as a hypothesis, what is encountered is first the definition. The state of mind isn't a definition of the state of mind, which also makes sense. Maybe it's the demonstration. How it functions could have been either of these two. But from what we've seen, we are working with the hypothesis, definition, demonstration, division for how it functions, and this one is obviously conclusion. Maybe. Seems to fit with dreams. So we put it. How do we read? we discover questions. So the question about the dream, the question about how does this understanding of the oxiding pictures fit with the dialectic as our questions. In our question sack, the archetypal hero's journey, right?
I think it's so awesome.
See, it's awesome. And also,
Where's the joy? The problem is that you can't. Where's the joy? Where's the whimsy? Where's the childlike wonder, dude?
it's the most fun game. So there's the staff. In the text, we saw Socrates say, hey, by the way, many are the staff bearers, or many are the theseus bearers, thrisis bearers, which is a Greek word for staff. But the actual mystics are the philosophers. So we are mystics. We are Gandalf the Greys, or Gandalf the Whites, or Super Saiyans, or Zeldas. I don't know. It's all the same. All of those things are divisions or taking aspects of what we're doing here. So, looking for questions in our question sack and inventory, but also we've got a nice new shiny hypothesis that we can put in our if sack in our inventory. That's how you play the game.
I'm looking for someone to share in
an adventure. And also,
You're a wizard, a wizard, a wizard, a wizard, a wizard.
we're all wizards, Harrys, in this game, right?
Oh my fuck.
Oh my fuck.
Brain rot escalates.
Yes.
It makes sense.
But we do make sense, even though the sound drops, I suppose, are brain rot.
The freaks.
Freaks. So, enough nonsense on the soundboard. Let's take that with us to the text. Oh yes, so Socrates says, hey, you guys can take what you've been discovering about, as we've been saying, how to write a book, how to do the dialectic, how I have moved Jesus from ignorance through recognizing the nature of ignorance, belief, and the next stage, knowing through understanding. Apply that to someone who's already in that stage of knowing, applying understanding to the Buddha to help him move through the stages of enlightenment too. And call that sequel a dialogue between Socrates and the Buddha. And have therefore create a map of the journey of the soul through the stages of enlightenment. From a glimpse to the final stages worked out, including within each stage, the first glimpse, working it out through that stage to move into the next. Yay!
It's a win-win-win-win-win. It's a win-win-win-win-win.
It's a win-win.
I'm going to get you.
I'm going to find you. And I'm going to get you.
Please don't find us and get us, R.M. Brown.
You're a baby. You're a little
You're
baby.
a little baby if you do that. So, that's where we are. Worth reviewing. Because, like, as we say, you do the thing and you do the review. You do the dream analysis and you review about dreams and the dream maker. You do the dialectic and you reflect on it. You read the book and you talk about it over coffee with your friends. Hooray! And you tell them,
I'm always good. And that is what I stand for, being good all the time.
and you, by talking about it and not, I don't know, gossip, you prove to them you are good all the time.
Absolutely gooped.
And they are gooped if they don't. All right. Oh, God. So it's worth reviewing as we go. Here we go. Now, speaking of reviewing, we are up to stage 6. Number 1, searching from the bill for the bill. Searching for the ox, seeking the ox or the bull. What's this? What do you encounter? A maze of crisscrossing rows. You're in a maze. What's the state of mind? desolate, fearful. How does it function? You seek worldly gain and you dread physical loss. And your ideas of right and wrong are daggers. Debate, bro, bullshit. I'm wrong. No, you're wrong. I'm trying to catch you wrong so I can punish you, stab you. Then, time of recording, Trump invaded Venezuela. We caught you doing a drug crime. So now we can kidnap you and steal all your oil, which was the whole plan. See, that's the thing. In this stage, your conclusions precede your reasoning. You're not following the logos. Peter's principle. People stuck in their pathologos seek opportunities to play out their ignorance and their fucking sadistic bullshit with impunity. Smug and cruel. Oh, you've done something wrong. Now I get to torture you because punishment. Fuck off with punishment. Punishment is a disgusting, evil idea. Ironically, evil is one of the justifications for punishment. There is no evil, it's ignorance. So, ideas of right and wrong are just used as daggers. And what's the conclusion? Why search? I already know what's right and wrong. It's about getting your bag, baby, and hurting people different from my family clan way of being. Literally, that's it. That's all it is. That's the pathologos. That's just human ignorance and suffering. It's just that simple. A savage, ignorant, blind loyalty to our own prison wardens. Through attacking understanding and looking for victims that are the different shape and color to our family clan way of being. It's just that simple. Stage 1. However, while that's the division, the functioning within, the conclusion or the anticipation of the next stage is, even though you're alone and you're desolate and there are many ways of going, democracy, the democratic way of mind. Who knows what's right and wrong? Do I go this way? Do I go that way? Do we do fascism? Do we do universal healthcare? Who the fuck knows, says the establishment Democrat. Fascist enablers. Because they don't have any understanding. They shouldn't be in their position. You can't do surgery without any understanding and a model. Why the fuck do we allow democratic politicians who don't have an understanding of truth and therefore allow fascism to take over? Because stage 1. It's a principle of our development. The problem is they are stuck. They're not seeking the logos. They're not reading what we're reading. They're not doing the dialectic and dream analysis. Because why search? They're already senators. They're already getting millions of their insider trading and from the war machine, murdering innocent children. Murder if you're lucky. Release the Epstein files. So why search? That's human ignorance. As the same today as it was since the origin of pathologos. Caveman days. Having turned his back on his true nature, he cannot see the ox. Because of his defilements, what we recognize as our ignorance or pathologos, false beliefs of self and reality, he's lost sight of our true purpose. Crushed since childhood. Every human being. It's the way it is. Suddenly he finds himself in a maze of crisscrossing roads. Greed for worldly gain. Get that bag. Dread for loss. Create a legal system. Create great gated communities. Create KKK Gestapo thugs to distract people from your ripping off everyone to get your billions. Wealth is relative. $1 billion isn't the same as 1 billion yen. Why? It's relative to how many dollars are in the system. In other words, you can't have billionaires without poverty and suffering. Therefore, this whole idea of abundance, religious bullshit, is nonsense. Equality. We should be fighting for equality. We can all be wealthy so long as we get over the idea of we're all independent. I can have $1 billion. Well, what if everyone has $1 billion? Wouldn't that be great? Isn't that what you've been promising? Anyway, very, very simple. Stage 1. Springing greed for worldly gain and dread for loss spring up like searing flames. Ideas of right and wrong are used to dart out like daggers. Desolate state of mind. Fearful. Okay, we also have forests and jungles. As we looked at with what is encountered, the same thing with dreams. It's not actually a forest. It's not actually a jungle. What would that likely be a metaphor for? You have to know for certain it's a hypothesis. You take it with your hypothesis IFSEC. What's the forest? What's the jungle? The concrete jungle? The rat race? The material world? Desolate through forests and fearful in jungles, he is seeking the ox which he does not find. Up and down, nameless, wide, nameless. No. Dialectic. What's the dialectic? Naming things accurately. Got some examples? The big beautiful bill. Not big and beautiful. Terrible and disgusting. That's why naming is important. That's why we need laws to say you can't lie. Lying is OP. Why are we lying to ourselves? Why don't we just tell the truth? Why is the whole, why does capitalism create systems of only lying, marketing, only lying, mainstream media, propaganda? Why don't we learn how to name things properly? The Patriot Act? Is that really what it is? Or is it the Tyrannical Oppression Act? Nameless, wide-flowing rivers in deep mountains and thickets, he treads many bypaths. Tangents. Pathologos takes us on tangents. Bone-tired, he aweary, he carries on his search. For there's something he cannot yet find. However, in the evening, he hears cicadas chirping in the trees. What do cicadas represent? Something different from the guy. Different species. Could we philosophers be seen as different species to the many? We're not playing that game. We're not going down many bypaths. We're doing the one thing, following the logos. What could be the chirping in the trees? Are we doing it here? Number 2, from searching for the ox to discovering the footprints. Along the riverbank under the trees I discover footprints. Even under the fragrant grass I see its prints. Deep in remote mountains they are found. These traces can no more be hidden than one's nose looking heavenward. Uh-oh. Starting to notice there are patterns. What's the first thing you have to do before doing the dialectic? Notice patterns. That's why we have to be reading Socrates and Pierre Grimes, books that give you the patterns of the logos. Also, you have to be doing that to surface the blocks to your reading, to following the logos. You need to, because you have to notice a pattern in your problem. You can't say, let's have a midwife talk. Okay, great. What's the problem? I dropped my keys the other day. That's a one-off. Yeah. No, we're not looking for one-off problems. We're looking for when you've noticed a pattern. Every time I seek something beautiful, every time I'm about to do something meaningful, that's when this happens. What happens? Something like this I encounter. I end up in this state of mind that plays out in this drama, leading to this conclusion, failure. The same way of understanding the oxiding pictures, we can understand our own problems. Problems are solvable, that means. Even in remote mountains of problems, you can't hide the ox's footprints. Even our problems are solvable. Just like our reading. We're reading this bang of a book. It's awesome and fun.
Where's the joy? Where's the whimsy? Where's the childlike wonder?
Here, in this book that we read, it's fun and whimsical, and we have childlike wonder. There are patterns to be found in that as well. There's our dialectic applied to our reading to move up, and our dialectic applied to our problems to purify what's false. Another way of saying that could be, there are footprints in fragrant grass. Banger books written about the logos. But also in remote mountains. Remote mountains seem like a trouble or something harder. The fragrant grass sounds good. The remote mountains seem difficult. We can see the logos and everything. Starting to wake up. In number 2, finding the tracks through sutras and teachings. These are the sutras. The Balboa translations of Socrates through the dialogues of Plato, and all the works of Dr. Pierre Grimes. Or 43rd Dharma's successor. No, 34th? Can't remember. Patriarch of one of the Buddhist lines. Also master of philosophy. It's a sutra. They call the midwifery book the Orange Sutra. Through sutras and teachings, he discovers, he discerns. Discerning. We're learning. You have to be reading these books to learn about the logos. He discerns the tracks of the ox. So could that be the logos? He has been informed that just as different shaped golden vessels are all basically the same gold, so each thing is a manifestation of the self. That's why you have to be reading this and not Kant. Kant is a bitch.
The hell's wrong with you? Calm your fucking tits.
Calm your tits,
You
because...
have severe mental, you moron. You dumbass. You have the brain of Kant's a little fucking bitch.
Exactly. Kant's a little bitch. He's not writing about the self. No philosophers are. Other than, of course, the Platonic philosophers. But of course, they, as we've been reading, they drop midwifery and dream analysis. So ideally, Socrates and Pierre Grimes. Because they're writing about the self. And we talk about the Balboa translations as being necessary. If you ain't in the Balboa, you're not playing the game. Because that's the only translation where the word altos or self, which is all through the dialogues, is actually translated properly. Of course, because the translator needed to have gone through midwifery and dream analysis to get to that stage. So we are learning that everything is in self, of self, and returning to self. Wow. But he is unable to distinguish good from evil. Now, we know that evil is garbage. Wisdom from ignorance, metaphor. Truth from falsity, there we go. He has not actually entered the gate. Right? Have you watched Solo Leveling? It's a... I won't talk. I like that. It's my favorite anime right now. They go through gates. But he sees in a tentative way the tracks of the ox. I'm open to maybe there being a way of solving problems and reaching excellence. Innumerable footprints he has seen in the forest and along the water's edge. I'm open to maybe dream analysis. Maybe dreams could be meaningful. Like the chorus in the book we're reading. I'm curious about the logos and how it relates to perfection. Oh, but not really. Counterattack. In the forest, he has seen the water's edge. Over yonder, does he see trampled grass? Innumerable footprints has he seen. What's encountered? Tracks. Haven't seen the model yet, but maybe you haven't seen the cause, but maybe you're seeing the effects. Over yonder, does he see trampled grass? It's over there, not here. Even in the deepest gorges of the topmost mountains can't hide the ox's nose, which reaches anagogically up to heaven. So what's encountered? Tracks, clues. Only through reading books that are about the self and the logos, the tracks and the self. Can't yet distinguish. What's the art of distinguishing? Dialectic. But in a tentative way, he thinks maybe there is such a thing as dialectic. But he says, hang on a second, if there is such a thing as an intelligibility to reality, problems, and insight, wouldn't it point all the way to heaven? That's the anticipation. Heaven, states of mind. Could there be states of mind? I know before I was in ignorance, complete problem, suffering. Stage 1, searching for the ball. But now I'm still in my problems, but I know I'm not completely desolate, completely defiled, completely alone and fearful, because I'm sensing there might be another game. The best game in town.
The more holes, the better.
Exactly.
I'm going to get you. I'm
No.
cool as a cuke.
You are cool as a cuke in this game. So what does that mean? That means there could be different states of soul or states of mind. Number 3, jumping in. Perceiving the bull, I hear the song of the nightingale. The sun is warm, the wind is mild. What does that mean? Willows are green along the shore, here no ox can hide. What artist can draw that massive head and those majestic horns? First glimpse, there's our glimpse, of the ox. Mind, self, which? Logos? Well, no, a higher state of mind. If he will but listen intently to everyday sounds. Everyday sounds is the logos communicating in every possible way. All of our thoughts, problems, dreams, daydreams, fantasies, tangents, night dreams. He will come to the realization at that instant, and at that instant see the very source. 2 sources, of course. Sources, of course, that rhymes. Congratulations, me.
Calm your fucking tits.
All right, I'll get too excited.
I think it's so awesome.
It is awesome. Source, of course, mind or self. The 6 senses are no different from the true source. Ooh. What does that remind us of? Xenophanes' question. What is the whole that Socrates' teacher, Parmenides' teacher, Xenophanes said? It's the whole that is seeing, hearing, and thinking right now. Those are our senses. There is one sense if you take them all as a whole, and Parmenides says it's the whole that's doing those things right now, in the instant. Some people say it's the whole of mind. Some people say it's the whole of God. But the even cleverer ones or wiser ones say it's the whole self, or the source self. Hey, the source in the instant is no different from what is sensing right now. In every activity, the source is manifestly present. Self, mind, both. It is analogous to the salt in the water or the binder in paint. When the inner vision is properly focused, one comes to realize that that which is seen is identical with the true source. Interesting. The nightingale warbles on a twig. What does that mean? It's a puzzle. Once you've started to have a glimpse about mind or self, what would the nightingale represent to you, like in dream analysis? The sun shines on undulating willows. Hey, Is there change happening? Is there ups and downs, successes and failures? But there stands the ox. Where could he hide? In those up and downs? Hey, temperance. To keep your cool in the ups and downs is one of the virtues. Where could the ox hide? That splendid head, those stately horns. But what art could nail it down? Oh, I've heard of an art that nails down an understanding of the source and mind. Have you? Whoops. Dialectic. Catching the ball. So that would be what's encountered? Something in the instant. The source. The glimpse of source, self, or mind. In all of the changes, behind all of the changes, the cause to all of the effects. What's it like as a state of mind? There's a curiosity. What would it be like to realize you can't hide it? You're in the game now. You can't fall out of the game. Well, you can fall out of the game, but you can't pretend to be blind anymore. What's it like to be wondering about how an artist could nail down what you've seen? Listening intently, possibly if he does, choice. It's an if. If, what's that like? It's still an if. If he listens, he will come to the realization. If he doesn't, he won't. That what is seeing, hearing, and thinking right now is the whole of source. If you focus your vision in some way, you'll come to realize it. What would that be like? How does it function? Kind of iffy, isn't it? What's the result? Question: how can we nail it down? Catching the ball. I seize him with terrific struggle. Good. Don't give up. Struggle. Fight. With great will and power. The mind. The mind, the pathologos, is the strongest force in the universe. Even enlightenment experiences don't remove your pathologos. In fact, that's the story of Jesus. You become more entrenched sometimes. Now, that's not always the case, of course. It can give you temporary alleviations if you've had a glimpse into the nature of the eternal nature of your consciousness, or you've had a glimpse at the self that can diminish the diminishing view of the self or mind, because you're like, no, of course it can't be that. It's garbage. My parents didn't know shit. My friends who kept calling me this or that name are fucking stupid, because I know, because I experienced it. Fuck them. Give yourself a couple of weeks. That's the pathologos. It can diminish it for a time. Therefore, there's great will and power that's inexhaustible of our mind when we're fighting against it. He charges to the high plateau far above the cloud mists, or in an impenetrable ravine he stands. The stubborn ox, the stubborn mind, stuck in your problems and habits. You're old. Hey, the new quote from the Oracle.
Personality maxing requires you to look inward on a
Deeper level, and it's harder to fix.
because then you have to make fundamental changes to who you are as a person, and it's because it feels like a much more core component of themselves that they don't want to change. Like, it's like, well, then if I change this, who am I? I.
Hard. Because you're identified with it. And you might not want to let it go. That false identification with the self makes you struggle in the fourth stage of enlightenment, or second stage of enlightenment, fourth oxiding picture. Struggling with mind. Catching the ox. Today he encountered the ox. which has long been cavorting in the wild fields, and actually grasped it. For so long a time has it reveled in these surroundings that breaking out of its old habits is not easy, as we just heard from the oracle. It continues to yearn for sweet-scented grasses. It is still stubborn and unbridled. Ooh. If he could tame it completely, the man must use his whip. Discipline, virtues, courage, keeping your cool, temperance, following the logos, being ruled by the logos, wisdom. At all times, get that whip out. You must whip it good, into shape. That's all I remember of that song. Something he must whip it. When a problem comes along, you must whip it. Whip it good. Gooner.
Gooners.
Haha. Breaking out of its old habits is not easy. So what are you encountering? Counterattack, the slingshot, the rubber band snapping back the other way. It continues to yearn for what it's used to do. To tame it completely, you have to use a whip. He must tightly grasp the rope and not let it go. Stay in the game. Don't end the conversation. It's a relationship. It's not just a glimpse. Stay in the game. Keep talking about it. Keep reading. Keep practicing the dialectic. Keep looking at your dreams. Keep talking about it with whoever you can. I know that part isn't easy, because we've only had Pierre Grimes's rediscovery of what Socrates left for 50 years or so. Ain't mainstream yet. But find someone with a good heart and good head. Do your best. And for yourself, do your best. Grasp the rope. Do not let it go. For the ox still has unhealthy tendencies. It is a training. The difficulty being everyone else is in step 1 or 2. Marketing, capitalism, fascism. Hey, embrace your... What do all of the religious and right-wing political groups and every individual family clan say? Hey, embrace your ignorance. It's your ignorance or your false beliefs, role, state of mind, and identification with self. That's the great thing. What does Paul say? The literal cause of human savagery, suffering, ignorance, and fucking stupidity is the thing that will save you. Faith. To be a loyal Anderson is what will save you. To be a loyal MAGA is what will save you. To be a loyal Jew is what will save you. To be a loyal fucking Scientologist, all the same. Always the same. So, hold on to the rope. Take control of your mind. What's the difference? You are taking control. That's understanding. What's belief? Sacrificing yourself, your mind, your understanding, literally your life's purpose for someone else's bullshit. You gotta make the change. That's why sovereignty is important, speaking of Trump invading Venezuela. All the Venezuelans can do is hope that the Americans wake up to the irrationality of injustice and the war machine and capitalism and everything else like that. Murdering human beings, torturing human beings for profits of already trillionaires. Hopefully they wake up. No, you gotta wake up. That's why sovereignty is important. To be in control of your own self. Searching for your own ox. Now I'm using political and everyday world current events as metaphors for our own taking control of your own habits. Even though everyone else says, do this. Get the bag, become a slave to the corporate machine. Embrace your ignorance and become a MAGA. Embrace your savagery and kill Palestinians for the tribe. We'll give you money. Sell out to the capitalists. like Joe Rogan, you get the millions of dollars. No. You are selling your soul, literally, your development of your soul and your potential enlightenment and your next reincarnations. Gaining the rope, grasping the rope to your own mind. For the ox still has unhealthy tendencies. Hey, lots to talk about in midwifery, so it's a win-win.
It's a win-win-win-win-win.
Even while he tugs it by the nose, it may turn his head towards old horns. So that's interesting. The anticipation of the next stage seems to be the full-on counterattack, going towards the old horns. That's interesting. State of mind, what's encountered? Old habits. State of mind, struggle. Will is needed. It's not easy. How does it function? You either grasp the rope and hold on, or it will drag you stubbornly and unbridledly back to, bridingly, whatever that word is, back to your old habits or haunts. 3. Taming the bull. The whip and rope are necessary, else he might stray. Oh, that's interesting. So your anticipation of it might turn towards the old haunts. Now number 5. Yep, it is in the old haunts. The whip and rope are necessary. So what does the whip and rope represent? Dialectic, midwifery, reading, dream analysis, which all of them. Up to you. What do you think? Else he might stray off down some dusty road. Yep. That's what we anticipated, the old haunts. Tangents, counterattacks. Being well trained, he becomes naturally gentle. Up could go both ways. Then unfettered, he obeys his master. That sounds like the next stage. So the taming, recognizing it could go down both roads. The counterattack of the pathologo's belief, or the success, the development of the dialectic through the logos, following the logos. Taming of the ox, with the rising of one's thought, another and another are born. Yes, the thoughts lead from the other. Down tangents, the self-fulfilling prophecy, the self-destructive zombie Usia and logos of belief and pathologos building on each other, or the logos can develop in a positive direction. Enlightenment brings the realization that such thoughts are not unreal, since they arise from our true nature. Big one here. Recognizing that all. Well, we've been seeing that the ups and downs, the scented grass, and the ravines in mountains. So the difficulties and the good stuff are all, there's a pattern. The ox is in all of it. The logos or mind or self is in all of it. Now we've gained a glimpse. So it's a stage of enlightenment where you recognize, holy fuck, all of this is a message from the self. To use the solo leveling analogy, what would you use? The system? I don't know. Think of your favorite anime. They're not unreal, since they arise from our true nature. It is only because of delusion. It's only because delusion still remains that they are imagined to be unreal. So the rejection of your own seeing. So this was a rejection in number 4. So 3, you've got a glimpse, but you're wondering how you can nail it down. 4, you're seeing, old habits, old patterns, old haunts. But now, counterattack to your understanding, your insight. This was a patterns, mindless. This is mind, counterattack to mind. If you are stuck in your delusion, you can reject the significance of thoughts, of understanding, of the logos, of dream analysis, of every pattern being a message. You can reject that insight. You've seen it in 5. But as we've been saying, with every vision comes a counterattack. Logos and pathologos, perfection and purification. So here's the counterattack to understanding with the insight. So in 3, you're like, how can anyone nail down this tremendous insight I've had into self or mind, the source? Now you're like, yeah, I can. I can nail it down. Or if I've still got some delusion, I will think it's not possible. The state of delusion does not originate in the objective world, but in our minds. A recognition that you carry your ignorance in your pathologos. So now you're starting to see. So, starting to see the rationality of the insight, the communication of that source you've had a glimpse into, either through a direct experience or through understanding, either or. You can guide it like this man is guiding his ox. Gentle. Have fun in the game. What's this one?
No, you're not the one that's mentally unwell. You're brave.
You are crossing into new boundaries.
You're crossing into new boundaries. Or you can reject your seeing. He must hold the nose rope tight. Aha, you're still having to hold on to that rope. And whip 2, still necessary. Stay on track. Keep in the conversation, keep in the reading, keep wondering, keep getting questions, keep developing hypotheses, keep sharing, keep doing your best, seeking your higher self. He must hold the nose rope tight and not allow the ox to roam. Don't let the habits take over. You've spent your whole life up until now meditating on that fake dialectic of your family clan way of being that you don't even know that you've got. You've taken it for granted. Don't let that take over. That's not virtue. That's not courage. That's not wisdom. That ain't justice. Hold on to the nose rope tight. He must hold the nose rope tight and not allow the ox to roam, lest off to muddy haunts it should stray, back to those old patterns. Properly tended, it becomes clean and gentle, but you're having success now that you're following the logos. Here you're battling with will. Now you're starting to get some payoffs. You're starting to get insight that it's all from the self. Self communicating to self through the logos of mind. Logos of self through mind, you could even say. Which of that made sense to you? Which of those ways of putting it sounds like your relationship to the ox? Untethered, it will follow its master. See? Stakes. You're having some success, but not only can you have the success, you can see ahead to what would happen if you do stay with it. Untethered. You need the rope, and when you're taming the bull, you still need the whip and rope, but you're taming it. In stage 4, you're struggling with it. You're still catching it. You're fighting against your old habits. Don't read. Don't do dialectic. Don't do dream analysis. You're not good enough. Do something else. Get that bag. Or whatever the family equivalent is. Number 3 is like, whoa, this is strange, but how can we nail it down? You have to in 4. Now you're doing that, you're getting some success. Not always. You can undermine your patterns, your way of being, going back to old haunts, or you can undermine your insight, your logos or your usia, your way of being or your understanding, by rejecting the rationality of all things, rejecting the logos. Whenever I say that, I'm reminded of the fact that I'm still banned from the majority report. Because I said, yes, Emma. That's a fantastic insight, Emma.
The primary purpose of pools,
Not that one.
the more holes, the better.
That the left is allowing fascism because they don't have a principle of understanding. They're allowing opinions and belief to take over. By the way, you need a name for that so you can look for it, search for the ox, and use it. It's called the Logos. Insta-ban without any conversation from the fucking terrible bullshit Twitch moderators of Majority Report. That's what caused Beefgate 2025. Some are saying broke the internet. So, again, the difficulty in sharing this with people who would benefit from hearing it. But what's that? Majority Report not practicing what they preach, not looking at how they are organizing themselves. They speak out against fascism, but do not look in their own backyard. Why is that important? Because you got to do both. You can't just look at solving at what is needed without addressing the cause of why we're in the state we're in. So, properly tended, have success. Otherwise, undermining the Logos. Now, you need a word for Logos, otherwise you won't recognize what you're doing. Be careful who you tell if you don't want to get banned or whatever. Exiled, murdered, whatever. Socrates was murdered for sharing the Logos, instead, because it conflicts with beliefs which are specifically anti-Logos. That's what beliefs are. Ignorance, remember? But having some success, like the man walking his ox, you can even imagine where it will go. If you stay with it, keep following the Logos. Recognize the counterattacks to your way of being, Usia, and the counterattacks to your understanding, Logos. Even though, okay, I'll stop talking about the Twitch beef.
I've been a bad little girl.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
You have severe mental illness, and you need to be fucking to it.
Maybe not that far,
Try to kiss a fox.
but we can try and kiss a fox.
Disgusting. I'm so
Oh,
disgusted.
No, we won't. It's so disgusting. I won't do that. So, anticipation of number 6 brings us to where we are. I understand. I recognize we've done 3 episodes on these first 5, but we're seeing more each time. But also, we want to keep these forever. This is the kind of learning and nurturing we want to keep forever. So no need to rush through them. But we're up to number 6. Are you ready? Nope. I need to take a quick break. Cliffhanger. Be right. Let's go. Let's go for it. Number 6. Untethered. Ooh. Is that an anticipation of the next stage? Let's find out. Riding the bull. Whee! Riding the bull. Riding the bull home. That's nice. Mounting the ox. Slowly I return homeward. Return. Home. The voice of my flute. Oh, what does the flute represent? Intones through the evening. Interesting. He's playing a flute while he rides the ox. What does that mean? Sharing? Following the harmony of the Logos? Would that be the dialectic? Functioning through it? Functioning through the harmony of the dialectic? The voice of my flute intones through the evening, measuring with hand beats. The pulsating harmony. There we go. There's the harmony word. I direct the endless rhythm. Oh, endless rhythm. Is that the Logos? But you're directing it. What's the role of the dialectician? To follow the Logos through the artful use of questions and answers. Directing the Logos. Whoever hears this melody will join me. Ooh. Those who take part in the dialectic might wake up to the greatest game in town, might realize that
You're a wizard, Harry.
You're a wizard, Harry. But of course, we're looking for what we encounter. The harmony. The state of mind. Slowly moving. How does it function? You can direct, and the anticipation. Whoever hears this will join me. It's a will, it's not there yet. So people aren't following you yet. So that might be the anticipation. So luckily we have, the first one is the Senzaki translation of the Shuyan. And the picture from Tensho Shubun. And the second one, which has the poem, is Kakuen Xian. I think they're both Chinese Zen masters, but from the 3 pillars of Zen. So luckily we have a longer version with a poem. Riding the ox home, the struggle is over. Oh, struggle is over. What we were looking in when we were in 5, when we were having successes and failures. In 4, we were just in the counterattack. Having successes and failures, we anticipated, well, untethered, it will follow, will be great. Our mind will follow us. What does Socrates call that? Being a friend to your own mind. And what's the art that Socrates calls the art of friendship in... We read it in one of our books. The Phaedo? I think the Phaedo. Because somebody, maybe the Meno as well? And Meno said, well, what if I was pretending to not understand key words? What if we came to a conclusion and then I just pretended, well, I don't know what that word means. Like, what if I was lying? And Socrates said, well, then I'd treat you like a liar and say, you have to demonstrate specifically what you didn't understand and why, and you have to use the logos to present your case. But if you were genuine, a good faith actor, what we would call today, then I'd be able to talk to you like a friend. And the dialectic is the art of friendship, or the way of relating as friends. So we're anticipating where that goes as we participate in the dialectic. But now you can function as a dialectician. You can sing, you can play the flute, you can ride your mind. The struggle is over. Gain and loss no longer affect him. If it's all the logos, if it's all from self, if it's all understandable, and if it's all messages on how we master the dialectic, what would physical gain and loss mean to us? If we are perceiving and functioning through mind, which we have had a glimpse into, or at least understand, is eternal. Beyond this lifetime, definitely. It's outside of time, by definition. He hums the rustic tune of the woodsman and plays the simple songs of the village children. I've talked about this before. There are some people who are able to communicate through, use their mind and communicate the understanding, the intelligibility of self and problems, and how we gain awareness of the ox in a way that relates to everyone. In a fun way, sometimes in a sexy way, in a entertaining way, in a way that can relate to woodsmen and village children. Simple songs. Plays the simple songs. Meet people where they're at. Also mythology. Astride the ox's back. So I talk a lot about analogy. We're talking about metaphors and analogy, aren't we? I'm talking about, I don't know, what am I talking about? Solo leveling, anime, skateboarding, video games, Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings.
I'm looking for some.
You're a wizard.
I'm looking for someone to share in an adventure.
You're a wizard.
A stride, and by the way, to be able to function through analogy is when you see it. That's the fun. Where's the fun and the child look and the whimsy and the childlike wonder?
Where's the joy? Where's the whimsy? Where's the childlike wonder, dude?
Oracle is drunk. When you see it, you can have fun using analogy to talk about it. Astride the ox is back, and you can use music as a metaphor for that. Once you know your instrument, you can. Once you know English, you can just speak through it. You don't have to think about it anymore once you've mastered it. Astride the ox is back, he gazes serenely at the clouds above. What's that mean? So we've got serene as a state of mind, that's what we're after. What's encountered? Harmony? Are you seeing the intelligibility as it unfolds? Can you see the patterns? Are you listening to mind? If only we listened in 4. In 3, if you but listen, are we listening? Are we doing more than listening? He gazes serenely at the clouds above. His head does not turn in the direction of temptations. Uh-oh. Have you done enough midwifery? Have you seen enough about what's true and about your old patterns of muddy haunts of what's false that you're now bored? Is it boring? The old patterns, the old dramas, the old temptations bore you now? They no longer turn your head? What also turns our head? Beauty and things we consider real. Hey, the sorts of people, the sorts of activities, sorts of drama that attracts us, have we seen through it? Are we no longer motivated by that gossip because it's no longer beautiful to us because we've seen through our images of beauty through the dialectic, dream analysis and midwifery? Is it no longer real? The sorts of jabronis that used to get us all wrapped up in whatever they thought or said or did? The old images of beauty no longer attract us because we've seen through their bullshit. The things that certain people said that we thought were real or legitimate, fucking garbage. Not interested. It's not real. Your mask isn't real. Your drama isn't real. You're imitating your own parents, your own culture, your own religion. These are catchphrases. It's boring. It's not real. You're not yourself. You're stuck in your old parents' problems, and that's your grandparents' problems, and that's from their grandparents, and so on and so on. You're a zombie. Not interesting. You're an NPC in that pattern. Seeing through the false images of real and beauty and all of the other logos terms. Today we've been talking about the pairs that are to do with oneness or understanding, but the monads or singles that are to do with goodness. Our false images of justice, false images of beauty, our false images of what's real or true, false images of what's excellent, false images of what's good or beneficial. We've purified this to the extent they know the images or the lesser. So we also have we've got 3 little teams: the duads, the monads, and the triads. What's the triad? To do with truth. What's truth? The lesser, the greater, and the ultimate. The false, the true, the false, the true, and truth itself as the principle self. The physical, mind, and the self. The lesser, our ignorance; the greater, the ox, the mind; and the ultimate, the self. So the lesser pseudo or imitations of these things no longer turn our head. Why? Because we've had enough insight with the greater and the ox, and our sutras or reading, and our reflection or playing the flute with our friends. Enough insight into the greater and enough insight into the lesser. Remember, the Logos is also present in the, not just the fragrant grasses, but the ravines and the mountains and the hard to reach plateaus. To the point where we've seen enough about why we were attracted to these, how they reflected our false images of these things from our Pathologos origin scene. Boring. Not into it anymore. I don't have to live a whole life attracted to that person playing out that drama, attracted to that bullshit playing out that bullshit, and go through several 100,000 reincarnations of that crap until I wake up. I've seen through it. Try though one may to upset him, he remains undisturbed. All of that practice of the virtues, courage to follow the Logos, wisdom to be ruled by the Logos, keeping your cool while you seek the Logos. So, the struggle in 4 after you've jumped in the game with 3. The successes and failures in 5 as you go through the dialectic and dream analysis. The practice of those virtues are now automatic. What you anticipated, untethered. Hey, what will it be like to be completely free of your problems? He remains undisturbed. Try as they might to drag you into their bullshit fucking drama, with their beliefs and their sales pitches about what they think is real. They're all past relationships. What are regular relationships with people in 1 and 2? Hey, play this drama that my parents played together, and I'll be the bully and you be the victim, and then we'll swap roles. Allowing each other to play out our ignorance, trying to force each other into our own parents' roles. Love without Logos, disaster. Not interested anymore. Not boring. Know where that goes. You should know where that goes by now. Try though one may to upset him, he remains undisturbed. Riding free as air. State of mind? What's going on here? He buoyantly comes home. Is there a bounce? Is there a rhythm? Is this the flow state? So, the flow state, buoyant, bouncing, but also there's a higher level of that flow state where you are using that flow state to do the right thing. In other words, you know what you should be doing in that state of flow. Coming home. Right direction. Through evening mists in wide straw hat and cape. You're the pirate king. You're the king of the pirates in your straw hat and cape. And does Luffy wear a cape? Shanks does, I think. You've become king of the pirates because you're Shanks and you're wearing your cape, and you've got your straw hat back from Luffy because Shanks is the coolest. That's what it's about. Garbage.
Absolutely gooped.
Gooped nonsense.
Wrong. You're
Wrong.
so wrong.
So wrong.
But that's okay. We're all
It's
allowed
okay.
to be wrong sometimes.
Okay, thank you. Wherever he may go, he creates a fresh breeze. Creating. seeing through, speaking through, creating a fresh breeze, new, authentic, not catchphrases, not imitation anymore. Seeing through the imitation. Be yourself. Creative, new creations each time. While in his heart profound tranquility prevails, there's our state of mind. Remember we talked about the ideal state of understanding being a state of mind of the greater while functioning providentially to the lesser, while the opposite is belief, a way of being and state of mind of the lesser, limited, different part in opposite to providence, creating war, conflict, suffering, misery, exploitation of the greater. Blow up the whole world, exploit the whole world. Attack people who want us to all be the same and like and be free. Fascists. Belief, the cognitive function as the root cause behind all fascism and human problems. So now we're saying, hey, our state of mind is tranquility or rest. Sounds like you've achieved a state of understanding, a high state of understanding, and freedom from problems. The one that we've been looking for. While in his heart profound tranquility prevails, the ox requires not a blade of grass. What is this? This is the anticipation, obviously. What is that meaning? What does that mean? The ox requires not a blade of grass. What does that mean? I don't know. We're going to have to look ahead. So what's encountered? Harmony that we can participate in. What's our state of mind? Tranquil, but also creative, serene, struggleless, free from struggle. How does it function? Can relate to woodsmen and village children. You can talk in simple songs. You've seen enough, you can see through it enough to create your own fresh breezes, create your own songs, measuring the pulses. You're functioning yourself within the pulse of the logos. That's interesting because if you're interested in music, some people think there are two fundamental pulses. I haven't gotten into it in great depth, but I've got it on my board up there. The two pulses. The pulse of what we would normally consider the fundamental beat of the song, and another pulse that runs through, which might be this pulse of the logos of the time. I don't know. That's on my list of things to do up on my board. But in other words, we're measuring the pulsating harmony while also directing the rhythm. So that would be the pulse and the rhythm. So there's the beat rhythm that you are doing, directing it, but you're following an innate pulse that you're sensing from somewhere. Following the logos, creatively functioning through the logos. So how's it function? Creatively, in a way that relates, meets people where they're at in the best kind of a way. But also the negative. So up until now, we've had both. 1 and 2 are garbage, but from their states of ignorance. But 3, we've had a glimpse, but no understanding. What kind of artist could nail anything like that down? So seen, but complete confusion. There's the positive and negative. 4, lots of negative. I've encountered the ox. I've grasped it. I'm making it mine, but it's always fighting back. Unhealthy tendencies, struggling against it, needs a lot of will to break its old habits. So there's the negative. 5, same thing, but in greater depth. I'm having success now. Mind is my friend now, but also if I don't keep up with my practice, following the logos, reading, reflecting, then off to muddy haunts. That includes also undermining my own insights I've already had. So there's the positive and negative. Mind can be gentle, mind can be a friend, mind can also go down stray tangents still tangents coming up. Need to keep doing midwifery and dream analysis. Number 6, the negative, gone. The positive, the pulse of the logos, but also functioning creatively with it in a way that helps, that can connect with others, meets people where they're at. Simple songs of the everyday people, while also being yourself free. That's the ideal state of understanding we've been looking for in our reading for the last 120 episodes. And the negative is there negatively. What's the negative? Are we number 5, temptations? No, is it temptations? Yes, dusty roads or tangents. Number 6, you no longer turn your head down those dusty road or temptations or tangents. Counterattack, those tangents, counterattacks, yeah. So the negative is there as a negative. It's not there anymore. The negatives from earlier, like number 1, desire for gain and fear of loss, worldly gain. Nope. No. Mind is always mind. Mind always follows logos. Logos is always present, because logos is the intelligibility of mind, which is eternal, and also transcends. There is a providence of logos even before eternity. What good is a Bugatti if there's an eternity of logos and mind, and a level of timelessness beyond that? To use the language, if there's a whole beyond the whole of even parts, if there's a out of time or timelessness beyond eternity of mind. Hey, why would I care about the ignorance of other jabronis who've been reincarnated here specifically because they have an ignorant pathologos idea of self, reality, beauty, justice? Why would I give 2 shits about their ignorant opinions and beliefs? They wouldn't be here if they weren't carrying ignorance. The only people I'd be interested in are people who have gone through midwifery and dream analysis, who have reached level 6 because they're no longer interested in their ignorant beliefs and they've got enough insight into truth. And you can count those people on one hand, probably. Number 6. So, what's encountered? The harmony, state of mind, serene, profoundly tranquil, free. So there's our free, there's our unlimited or free. Really nailing down what it's like to be in that ideal state of understanding, but also functioning in a beneficial way to the parts, to the village children, to the woodsmen. Singing a song that all who want to play the game would be attracted to it. This is finally that state of understanding we've been seeking. We've been practicing understanding, logos, dialectic, to make sure we're not getting sidetracked by this, and by thumbs up, and by 5, we're actually having success of integrating the whole, the same, the like, the at peace or tranquil, the free or unlimited, the eternity, no longer attracted to bullshit in time. And by 6, it sounds like we have this as a state of mind and can function ideally. Sounds like that state of understanding we've been seeking since the beginning of this text, or since early in this text. Since when we realized, hang on a second, there are these 5 cognitive functions that we've been nailing down, maybe a 6th the ousia and activity, the model and activity of ignorance, or the lesser in the physical world. Belief is the know. I just know it because I believe it. And the functioning materialism or strict dualism to reject a higher development. Everything is just parts. Everything is just physical stuff. Everything is just squirting brain chemistry. All that garbage, which has to come from a belief that you don't know you've had. Sometimes it's because you grew up in a religious belief and you realize that's horse shit, so therefore you become atheist. Well, there must be no God. No, that's stupid. You haven't addressed your belief. You are still suffering from the activity as a result of it. In other words, just because there are some unjust people, there are fascists who thinks justice is might makes right. America right now, the baddies. Doesn't mean justice doesn't exist because they're wrong about it. So too, just because religious people, so fascism is the political expression of belief, religion is the spiritual expression of ignorance through belief. Just because religions are, or religious belief is horseshit, doesn't mean there's no cause of everything, or source, or purpose, or self, or mind. So we've recognized this as the model and activity of the lesser, the physical world of parts. And we can say, hang on a second, materialism therefore is to draw a line and say there are only parts. There's just the physical world with just physical stuff, billiard balls, or just physical chemicals squirting. There is no whole. There is no sameness of self or mind. There is no higher states of mind, what it feels like. There is no tranquility and rest and goal. There is no freedom. There is no eternity. So we can just draw a line down there to understand strict dualism or materialism or reductionism, lots of isms that reject our development. Empiricism. We can understand belief by saying you are this at war with that. There's number 4, belief. We're using 4 because that's the hypothesis of Parmenides, the 4th hypothesis of Parmenides. Understanding we've seen as, well, we skipped understanding and we looked at knowledge because knowledge is simply the whole of all parts. Both, not just the whole of all parts, we've said it's the greatest superlatives, the highest use of language. It is literally the greatest whole of all of the parts. So justice itself, beauty itself, great goodness itself, the highest adjectives, the same that accounts for all difference. Therefore, it's the model for political justice because a species has to account for all difference necessary for evolution, but has to allow there to be a sameness to unite the species. Have to have both. Like incorporating all like, unlike, or out of time incorporating everything that will ever happen in time. There's our model. But we skipped understanding. And of course we went to the one self, that's, we used the Venn diagrams to look at, well, there has to be a part of the whole that transcends. A whole that transcends parts. But now a question was, what would it feel like to be understanding, which was described in the book, to have the state of mind of this, the positives, and to be able to function beneficially, the antithesis of belief. Don't know. It wasn't given in the book yet, until we were given this. It seems to be the 6th ox-herding picture. A state of mind of excellence or automatic functioning, the kind of learning, therefore, that we should be doing. In the text did point to the fact that our modern education, Aristotelianism, is a tragedy because it doesn't change your state of being. It doesn't give you a mastery of an art that you can therefore function through. This would be the real, therefore, method of education. We've said it's the spiritual method, but now we're seeing or nailing down why it's also the educational method. It gives you the understanding that you can master and see through and function ideally through, like the man riding the ox, playing his flute. State of mind of true understanding. Hooray! So free, buoyant, bouncing with the pulse, but also with the rhythm. So the pulse is what's happening, the logos, and the rhythm is what you can add to it to make it unique or your own, or fresh breeze, new thing. You are unique. We want to hear your voice. We want to see how you express the logos, see how you can relate to people in a unique way. To all the village children and woodsmen, doing a fantastic job. Bored by the ignorant, by the people you've seen enough. You've been in enough relationships with the ignorant stupid belief-based, ignorant, smug and cruel idiots. You've seen enough bad faith actors. It's boring now and no longer turns your head. Doesn't rile you up. Doesn't matter how much they try and troll you, it doesn't upset you in 6. So that's how it functions from that state of mind, encountering the what? The endless, the harmony, the pulsating harmony and endless rhythm. Anticipation of the next. The ox requires not a blade of grass. What does that mean? How does that anticipate the next stage? Let's find out. The bull transcended. Oh, transcending the bull. What does that mean? Astride the ox I reach home. I am serene. The ox too can rest. Oh, the dawn has come. What does that mean? In blissful repose, within my thatched dwelling, I have abandoned the whip and ropes. Sometimes the picture, I think it has them. No, let's not add that. Oh, within my thatched dwelling, I have abandoned the whip and the ropes. What does that mean? You're no longer riding mind? Mind is at rest? You've reached home? What does that mean? Ox forgotten, self alone. Oh. Are we gone through the other side of heaven? The other enlightenment state? In the Dharma, there is no two-ness. Oh. The ox in his primal nature. This he has now recognized. A trap is no longer needed when a rabbit has been caught. What? The fuck does that mean? A net becomes useless when a fish has been snared. What? Like gold which has been separated from dross. Okay, what the hell is dross? Pause. Pause. Dross means something regarded as worthless or rubbish, foreign matter, dregs, or mineral waste. In particular, scum formed on the surface of molten metal. Oh, okay. The scum or unwanted material that forms on the surface of molten metal. Impurity. Alright, so you're purifying metal, which is interesting because earlier we talked about the self being represented by gold. All gold, everything that you see is shaped gold faces, all made of the same gold, which is the source, which is self. Which was number... From your reading, you've recognized that. From number 3, you've been reading. So to be in the game is reading. No, wait. You had an insight that everything is no different from the source in 3. But you've been reading to the... Where is the sutras? Where's the reading? Four? Two? Oh, yeah. Oh, the reading begins in 2. Interesting. Alright, so. You reached home, you're serene. The ox too can rest. The dawn has come in blissful repose. There's a state of mind. Bliss. Within my thatched dwelling, I have abandoned the whip and the rope. No longer need for method. That's interesting. Although that could be the anticipation of the next. Let's keep reading. There's no two-ness in the Dharma. Non-duality. Still could be oneness of mind knowing itself. So this could be understanding as the ideal in 6. This could be the experience of oneness. Let's see. The ox in his primal nature, this he has now recognized. A trap, oh here we go. A trap is no longer needed when a rabbit has been caught. A net becomes useless when a fish has been snared. Right, alright, so it's talking about you've done it. You don't need, once you've already got the rabbit, you don't need the trap. Once you've got the fish, you don't need the net. In other words, you're done. You've done with the method. The method you've been using to get to the stage is no longer needed. You're there, you're at home. It's interesting, because you still would be doing the dialectic, because what else would you be doing? Like gold which has been separated from the dross, so that's the mineral waste. Like the moon which has broken through the clouds, one ray of luminous light shines eternally. That sounds like the direct experience of divine luminosity in the highest sense. Sounds like. Only on the ox he was able to come home. Riding the ox. Does that sound like dialectic? But lo, the ox is not vanished. And alone and serene sits the man. What? The red sun rides high in the sky as he dreams on placidly. Yonder beyond the thatched roof, his idle whip and idle rope are lying. Interesting. Dreams change? Still dreaming? Still something to do? Because the ox is not vanished. This one is a real mystery. Let's see what number 8 entails. Anticipating the next. Beneath the thatched roof, his idle whip and rope are lying. What does that mean? He doesn't use it, but he still needs to have it there just in case. What's the significance of that? And how does that anticipate the next? This one is hugely mysterious. Let's keep reading and see if we get some insight from the next one. 8. Both bull and self transcended. Okay, look at the pictures. We've got 1. Search for the bull. Look at the man. Searching. Looking around. Can't see anything. He's a joke. To him we say,
Oh my fuck.
oh my fuck. We say,
I've been a bad little girl.
being bad.
Wrong. You're a fucking bitch, pussy ass fucker.
Bit harsh on that man, but look at him. He's in his ignorance. Now he's looking around. He's searching for the tracks. Discovery of the footprints. Now he's chasing the bull. He sees its butt. Perceive the bull. First glimpse of the ox. Number 4, catching the bull. He's got it by the neck rope. Number 3, taming the bull. He has to keep hold of that rope, and he's leading it. Still not friends with it yet, still not using it properly. 6, riding it. There he is riding, and the bull's happy, and he's playing a song on a flute. Happy, happy, happy. 7, there's a man looking at the moon in the sky. And in his house, he's got the his rope and his whip and rope are in his little house there. Now I can't even see the ox. The ox is forgotten. The ox is resting. It's not even in the picture. Now 7, nothing. It's a circle. Where's the guy? Where's the house? Where's the rip? Where's the rope? Where's the ox? Where's the fella? Goddamn circle. What does that mean? Crazy. I'm going to start a nasty Reddit post thread about this ox herding picture. It confuses me, and so I'm going to lash out on Twitter. Dear Grok, number 8 ox herding picture is insane. What are we supposed to believe? Where is the man and his house? He got home, but home's gone now. I can't believe this. This is insane. It's the liberals, maybe. And Grok will say, yes, it's because the white rich man needs to have more privilege. Oh, some bullshit. Okay, forget about that. Fuck you, racism and Elon Musk.
Dumbass. You have the brain of a child if you think
They
that.
have a brain
And I
of a
find
child.
that very entertaining.
I've been a bad little girl.
You have
Please end kink shaming.
calm your
That's
fucking bitch, pussy ass fucker.
Okay, enough. So, if you're scrolling through, I guess, Reddit or Twitter, X, and you see a nasty thread about how infuriated and confused I am about number 8, you can upvote it or whatever you do on those platforms. Both bull and self transcended. What? Whip, rope, person, and ox all merge into no thing. Merge in no thing. This heaven is so vast, no message can stain it. How may a snowflake exist in a raging fire? So cryptic. Here are the footprints of the ancestors. Footprints? What does that mean? Are they going somewhere else? Because we're only in 8. But we've transcended everything. Both ox and self forgotten. All delusive feelings have perished. Oh. And ideas of holiness too have vanished. He lingers not in the state of I am a Buddha. And he passes quickly on through the stage of, and now I have purged myself of the proud feeling of I am not Buddha. Even the 1,000 eyes of the 500 Buddhas and patriarchs can discern in him no specific quality. Talking about removing the false image of the self mask that you've been identifying with, sounds like you've removed that false image of the self. Even 100 Buddhas, 500 Buddhas asking you questions, but do you think you're this? Do you think you're that? We've got to catch, we've got to find any bit of self he's still grasping to that isn't the self. They can't see it. There is no individual self, separate from something. It's not a thing, but it's all merged. So there's a merging. Sounds like a oneness, maybe? But there's also footprints of ancestors. Ah, what a puzzle. If hundreds of birds were now to strew flowers about his room, he would not but feel ashamed. He could not but feel ashamed of himself. So there's not even a pride in your achievement, because you've seen through the struggling self to the point where you must have realized something, that you're not in the I am a Buddha, because that would be an image of yourself, right? I'm a Buddha. And he's also passed on through the, look how proud I am that I'm not identifying with a Buddha. I've heard some people call it the stench of enlightenment. He's gone past it here. I don't like that phrase. I think that's used kind of in a shitty way by shitty people doing shitty things, but forget that I mentioned that expression. I don't like that one. It's one of those easy to throw around bullshit things like Dharma combat. I'm not being a dick. I'm not in my pathologos. I'm doing Dharma combat. I haven't seen any redeeming features of that. So it's one of those kinds of things. But you've gone through. You're not even identified with the Buddha state of being. So you are in a Buddha state of being. You're just not identified with it. So this would be the state of the Buddha. Maybe. Qualityless. You've completed your pathologos removal through midwifery, and you have to at the same time be doing the positive, reading and reflecting on the self, as we've been doing. You can't find anything that you can hold on to as your image of self. Not even I'm enlightened. No, that ain't me. So there must be some recognition that the self transcends all images. Even the ego self, image of self of look at me transcending images. And if hundreds of birds were to strew flowers about his room, he would feel ashamed. Now, this wording is interesting. He could not but feel ashamed of himself. I have seen a different translation of this as he wouldn't even feel ashamed if he was praised. So you're not. But if we were to take these words literally as they are, he would feel ashamed of being praised for his achievements. So I'm not sure about that one. Could go either way. Whip, rope, and ox alike belong to emptiness. That's an interesting word. So vast and infinite. So interesting idea of emptiness if it's infinite. Meaning it's not completely empty. Is it? Empty of something, empty of no thing. Kind of emptiness of anything physical or images or beliefs. Seems. The azure sky, that no concept. There we go. That's what we were looking for. Something like this. No concept of any sort can reach it. No image of yourself. It still might be graspable as an eidos or aspects of that oneness if this is the pure oneness of mind. So if we've got the ideal understanding in 6, there's some sort of transition point in 7 to the ideal state of knowing, which we're talking about here. The oneness. Through 7. So maybe 6, 7, and 8. Also 6, 7. Ha 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 ha. That will have no significance in a month to anyone. What the heck was that? Nothing. Forget it.
Cunt's a little fucking bitch. Disgusting. I mean.
You can be disgusted for me doing that stupid thing.
Dude, suck my dick.
Okay, fair enough. I deserve that. So, no concept can reach it. Over a blazing fire, a snowflake cannot survive. So that might be the metaphors. As we talked about earlier, an experience of pure mind or divine luminosity can diminish your pathologos for a time, because how could anyone talk shit about you or say that you are this or that if you've just experienced yourself as eternity, as everything? Yeah, you can call me a garbage person or a piece of shit or whatever, but fucking stupid, because I just experienced and remembered myself as everything all at once. Self knowing itself as eternity. Yeah, so I'm not falling for that bullshit anymore. For a period of time until the pathologos takes over, which is why we have these stages of development. That's why we have 4 going through the struggle because of the counterattack, 5 recognizing you go both ways, and 6 purifying your pathologos. Using that purified state in 7 to go beyond, to know the true nature of reality as nothing physical, no thing, and also no concept. When this state of mind is realized, so it's a state of mind, comes at last comprehension of the spirit of the ancient patriarchs. Now this repeating thing of the patriarchs as a footprint, so it doesn't seem to be the last stage yet. Very puzzling. Very, very puzzling. What's encountered? No thing. No delusive feelings. Ah, that's interesting. Let's highlight delusive feelings. Seems like a complete freedom from any pathologos, verified by the direct experience of pure mind. All delusive feelings, thing or concept of self, or any identification with self that you've been carrying up until now. In experience. So all of the methods you've had, whip, rope, and ox, now unify in that same kind of emptiness. A blazing fire. Images of light. It seems like the divine luminosity or the ideal of knowingness, or the second hypothesis. Sounds like. But there is a spirit. Others have been there. The patriarchs. Plato reached divine luminosity. Socrates talked about going beyond that. Got 2 more stages to go. Could 9 and 10 be beyond luminosity? If this is luminosity, no thing, but it's merged. Something, what has perished, so the negatives are completely perished. It's a experience of something as a result of the removal of pathologos, it seems. What have we been reading in the text? Let's see it. Nope. Press a different button. Let me open this. And then I press this, and then I do that. Excuse me. Okay, what's the, what am I looking for? Oh. Oh. Here. Page 130. So, in the book, we're talking about the origin of the false image of the self. Fuck me. I bet we have to go back through the whole text and find the sections that explain each of these ox-herding pictures. I bet. Because this one seems to be where we're at. So Jesus talking about the child accepting a way of being that marks and shapes his life and his reincarnation. So the fundamental cause of human problems, belief, is a belief of self and reality that sells along with it a way of being that shapes your life. So we've been purifying ourselves as we've been seeking the true nature of the ox, or the nature of mind, resulting in that fiery luminosity of 8. Everything merging into a non-physical experience of oneness, maybe. The opposite is this negative way of being that marks and shapes your life, and in your reincarnation too. So in reincarnation, also, the soul accepts a way of life that marks or shapes his or her life. So you go through a mini reincarnation type thing if you accept the family clan way of being as a little baby, toddler, 3, 4, 5, something along those lines. You have to have language. It's usually around that age. You have laid out just as you accept a way of being in your new incarnation, a life. You have laid out the mystery in a splendid way. There must be something similar in both to account for the identification with, remember?
Personality maxing requires you to look inward on a deeper level, and it's harder to fix because then you have to
Make fundamental changes to who you are as a person.
and it's because it feels like a much more core component of themselves that they don't want to change.
Like, it's like, well, then if I change this, who am I? Who am I?
Who am I? Personality maxing, or removing the false image of the self by going through what we've been seeing, glimpsing there as an intelligibility ox, following its footprints, tapping into that harmony of the logos, being a dialectician yourself, gaining freedom from your pathologos in 7, wondering about the rays that the moon reflect, experiencing it as a oneness in number 8. There must be something similar to account for the identification with, or the loyalty to, that image and way of life that we have been purifying through this journey. Socrates says the similarity that you ask about is the dynamic mean between our twofold existence. As we journey, see, reflecting the journey that we've been nailing down in the ox-herding pictures. As we journey between heaven and earth, this bond that is experienced accounts for the full range of self-imposed masks that block the perception of self. So now we're perceiving self without two-ness, as a oneness in 8. Considering, well, maybe self, maybe mind, don't know yet. Consider as we know, upon death, we all experience 8. We all experience the most divine, luminant, the most brilliant light of being. To the degree one is able to endure that divine luminosity, to that very degree, there is a corresponding profound depth or shallowness to one's way of being. Obviously, we've been nailing it down in the ox-herding pictures. So we will experience to some degree 8 when we die. But we can prepare for it and experience it in our lifetime. Imagine all the significance of that, considering if we don't, we reincarnate in a negative way, playing out our ignorance in a kind of way of life, identifying and being loyal to our ignorance, belief, suffering, same old shit. We're bored of that, I hope, by now. Bored of it, I hope, by number 6. Also, to the extent we can participate in 8, in our lifetime, there is a correspondence to the profound depth or shallowness to our own way of being, because our freedom from our pathologos as a child, accepting that image of self and reality, our freedom from, that's all the negatives that we've been experiencing, all the counterattacks, especially in 4. We've been removing that while seeking the ox, while seeking the truth. So if the level to which we experience 8 when we die accounts for the kind of negative reincarnation into a new pathologos we get, so too, if we're saying it's a direct correlation here, direct analogy, so too, the extent to which we can participate in 8 while being free of our pathologos image of self through this ultimate personality maxing, the oxiding pictures, well, with the logos and dialectic, of course, would correspond to our own level of depth or shallowness of character here. How intelligent and caring we can be. How well we can ride the ox and play the flute for woodsmen and townsfolk in a way that, what was it? Anyone who hears the song would want to play? Let me get the exact quote. Whoever hears this melody will join. In other words, who are the most cruel, sadistic fucks in the world? To whom we say,
You have severe mental illness and you need to be fucking checked into an insane asylum.
Insane asylum. And then we say,
Would you just blow in from Stupid Town?
They blew in from Stupid
But I
Town.
thought this was actually kind of interesting.
It's interesting though,
It's a total shit show.
but they're a total shit show.
Kant would say some
Some
fucking bullshit.
What are they? The most identified with their pathologos. The pathologos party. Conservatives, Republicans. Right wing, that's the pathologos party. Religion, pathologos party. Pathologos spirituality. The antithesis of truth. The cause of our human problems and suffering. What's their comedy? Ever seen a right-wing comedian or a Joe Rogan sphere comedian? They're not funny. Fuck no. They're smug while they're being cruel, punching down on minorities or using slurs. Cruel and smug. What do the right wing always want? Cruelty and be smug about it. Torturing, murdering, pillaging from the most weak and vulnerable. Powerless and vulnerable, not weak, powerless and vulnerable. It's always the same. Same with religion. Preying on the most ignorant, while themselves being most ignorant. So what do we see? The more people identify with the false image of self, the more cruel and ignorant they are. Bad heart, bad head. Whereas the more free we are from our false image of self, the pathologos, the more we can participate in that divine luminosity of 8 in this lifetime, making us more intelligent and caring. Just. If there are negative consequences for living an unjust life, then wouldn't you want to do the most just thing? Participate in the greatest activity, the dialectic, play that flute, and participate in the divine luminosity of 8 to get all of the benefits from having a just consequence on the world and yourself. To To the degree one is able to endure that divine luminosity, which may be 8, we're going to have to read 9 and 10 to see if we can nail it down. To that degree, there's a corresponding profound depth or shallowness to one's way of being. See? The opposite we can look at with religious figures, MAGA, conservative right-wing fuckers, the people doing the most disgusting, unjust shit. They are the most identified with belief, and they're most cruel, and their idea of knowing is cruel and smug, and also pleasure, fun, sadism. Same, cruel and smug, sadist. Whereas the best people are the most intelligent and caring. Intelligence and care go together. True intelligence. And as does freedom from false identification with self. Openness for curiosity, openness to walk the path of the ox-herding pictures through the logos. In this lifetime, as with reincarnation. In that encounter of that divine luminosity, which we remember, to endure that is to that degree there's a corresponding depth or shallowness of your way of being. In that encounter, they realized that what blocked them from a more profound experience was their own fear of the fear that they would be extinguished in that awesome and powerful presence of luminosity. But in 8, we realized that, let's bring it up. In 8, there is no fear of some self attached to a thing up here or a concept that we're afraid of losing, like a snowflake in the fire. The significance of removing the pathologos false idea of self allows you to participate in 8. It's a necessary condition for 8. Otherwise, we will have a fear of losing ourselves because we haven't learnt that divine luminosity is the highest experience of self. So we should be glad to see ourselves and remember ourselves and say hello to ourselves. And B, we've gone through the process of removing especially through 4 and 5, seeing the consequence of that in 6, wondering about the source in 7, we've gone through the process of removing that false idea of self and its associated way of beings, unhealthy tendencies, old habits, mud, what else? Muddy haunts. I like that. It's a Muddy Haunts. Sounds like a band from the 70s. It's the Muddy Haunts. So we've had this in the text earlier. We're seeing its place. We're seeing the significance of that section of the text that Socrates and Jesus talked about, the fact that we all have that experience of 8 in our reincarnation, meaning our life's purpose has to be these ox-herding pictures, because if we haven't learnt to understand through the logos, through riding the bull, mastering the flute, the logos, the dialectic, if we haven't through our reading and following the logos recognized that it is the experience of self, we won't recognize it, desire it, and want to go into it in its greatest depth. And B, if we haven't purified our false pathologos family-based, family clan-based image and way of being and patterns, muddy haunts, and the things that used to turn our head and the things that used to turn your head in that direction and the things that used to affect us. Where's the people who try and turn our head? Where does it say? Oh yeah, try though people may to upset him, he remains undisturbed. So this going through these ox-herding pictures is necessary for every single human being, because that's what you encounter in 8, and that's going to affect your life, your reincarnation, your development, to the extent where you have developed an understanding riding the ox in 6, and purified what's upset you, turned your head, your patterns, your false image of self or pathologos you get from your childhood. But as we've seen, the kind of life you get is a result of your previous levels of development, meaning you don't have to go through any past life regressions or any of that, because your current pathologos is a perfect representation of where your soul is at currently on its journey. Meaning, if you can, it's a representation of your learning. So your pathologos, while sucking and being the cause of your problems and injustice and blocks and suffering, etc., negative relationships, the things that used to turn your head, it's also a perfect representation of all of your previous reincarnations and the depth to which you've been able to participate in the divine luminosity of 8. Meaning, if you go through this in your lifetime, you can address what you need to address in a single lifetime, because of it being caused by your previous reincarnation as a result of all of the learning and nurturing on your soul up until now. You have what you need to solve your problem. That's discovering the ox. And you wouldn't have listened to this or reflected in this way had you not been curious in 2. Because this is from our reading the sutras, we are discerning that there are tracks of the ox, that everything is a manifestation of the self, and number 2, we can play this game. So jump into 3, struggle through the counterattacks in 4, have success in 5, but keep at it and anticipate what would it be like to complete that success. Enjoy the success in 6, play the song, help other people, be a dialectician, use that to reflect on this, the source of that in 7. One ray of luminous light breaks through the clouds. Now that you don't need the whip and the rope anymore, and experience that divine luminosity in 8, because you've recognized that is the source of mind, the reflection of self, and you've got no fear of losing a false image of self that would prevent your participation in it, as Socrates explained in the text. And also is in here, because he lingers not in the state of I am a Buddha, nor in the pride feeling of look at me having reached Buddha. Because there is no specific quality of a thing or a concept that you have identified self with that can be lost in that experience, that profound, blissful, literally the greatest possible, most profound, and I was going to say intense, but that has a negative connotation, like it can be overwhelming, but not overwhelming or intense in a negative way. Amazing, blissful recognition of self, so long as you've gone through the logos and you've removed any false image, concept, idea of self, or thing, physical attachment to self in your personality maxing.
Personality maxing requires you to look inward on a deeper level, and it's harder to fix because then you have to make fundamental changes to who you are as a person. And it's because it feels like a much more core component of themselves that they don't want to change. Like, it's like, well, then if I change this, who am I?
Exactly. It's not just a changing of that thing that you've identified with, who am I? It's a purification of any thought, thing, concept that you're identifying self with, other than everything we've been learning about the mind as divine luminosity in our readings, in our logos, encountered directly in 8. But keep in mind, there's a learning and nurture of having questions and using understanding to posit answers to do with causes. There's our Q's and ifs. There's our question and answers of the dialectic that we could even take with us into that recognition of mind without any fear of losing a pathologo self, that might allow us to transition through it to its cause, the self. Maybe we'll have to move on to the final 2 oxherding pictures, 9 and 10, next time. With that as the teaser to tease all teasers. Holy crap. Because how do we transition through that? Is there a transition? What is the 9 and 10th? Oh, so many questions. And can that help us nail down what we've been seeing in 6, 7, and 8? Oh, only next episode can tell. Are you excited? Are you wondering, hey, where are you in the game? Can you recognize yourself in any of those stages? Have you recognized yourself undulating, or what's the word? Undulating? Let me find the word. Have you found yourself yes, undulating is the word. Undulating as the undulating willow moving between. Sometimes you're in one, fighting against your other ignorant people about your ignorance. Sometimes you're in 2. Oh yeah, I remember I should be reading, or I should be looking at this. Do you find yourself at 3 getting glimpses but wondering, how can I master this? Do you find yourself in 4 facing a counterattack? This is too hard. I can't do it. I suck. Find yourself in 5 having some successes in your review of what blocked you, and wondering, what could it be like to be free? Have you had an experience of being free, flowing, using your understanding, following the pulse of the logos in your own unique way? 7 I haven't really nailed down, but seems to be a transition to 8. Non-dual state of self knowing itself as a oneness. Any image of the self couldn't survive that, like a snowflake in the flame of that divine luminosity. Of mind knowing itself as no thing or concept, but reality itself. You moved through all of them? Where do you find yourself? What would it be like to master all of them? And where do we go in 9 and 10? Wow.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
Lots of wows. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you had some wow moments. Oh, how cheesy did that sound? And I hope you're excited, and hope you got questions, and hope you're having a fun time. Wow. Amazing. Good stuff. Did I mention this book's a fucking banger? Because it is. Feel free to donate to the channel if you like to support the channel and you want to see more of this and you want it to continue. And you can support if you can. If you want a link to the text that we've been reading, there's a PDF below. Twitch, YouTube. You can follow along with either of those, and you can follow along with Discord too. You can chat to people, and I post little essays there from time to time as well. It's a lot of fun. And you get a notification when we go live as well. Thank you for joining me. Holy crap, 9 and 10 next time. Wow. I'll see you then. Bye.